everyone. Thank you for waiting. I am just, I can't deal with Flickr. So instead of making you wait and Jeff and Chris wait, I said, why don't we do Jeff's segment and I can, deal with Flickr. So how's that sound, everyone? Sound good? I hope
We're
so.
multitasking.
I'm always multitasking. But Jeff, are you here with us?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do a shout out when I get back. So right now, guys, we are going right into it. We're going right into Jeff's segment. So here we go. Hi to everyone in chat. We just lost Chris, but he's back, so I'm adding him back in. If you guys want to say hi, Jeff, you want to get started? I'm here, but I'm going to be muted. Okay, so if you need me, just call. Okay.
All right. Hi to everybody in the chat, and thanks, Super Mario Brothers, for that nice comment.
I feel better, Moon Freedom. Moon Freedom's not feeling well.
Feel better.
I can't see the chat, and I tried to log in, and that's what booted me out.
Uh-oh. In the app, you can go to, there should be a chat in the, like, private chat.
Yeah.
When you click on it, there should be a tab at the top to switch to
I didn't
comments.
see comments. There we go. I'm just an idiot.
No, it's okay. You just never used it. It's fine. All right, so I do have to come back and forth to share your screen. So there you go, Jeff. And now I shall be back, but I'm here.
All right, we're going to start with this. Credit Brian MacFarlane. Brian wanted Jeff to share this article in the news. A scientist claims he can prove we live in a simulation. Scientist says he has the evidence that we live in a simulation.
This popped up on my phone this week. I opened this article.
Yeah, I saw this too. Using his previously formulated second law of infodynamics, Bobson claims that the decrease of entropy in information systems over time could prove that the universe has a built-in data optimization and compression, which speaks to its digital nature. While these claims warrant investigation, they're far from a discovery themselves and would likely need rigorous proof for the scientific community. In physics, there are laws that govern everything that happens in the universe. For example, how objects move, how energy flows, and so on. Everything is based on the laws of physics, Vopson said back in 2022. One of the most powerful laws is the second law of thermodynamics, which establishes that entropy, a measure of disorder in an isolated system, can only increase or stay the same, but it will never decrease. Based on the famous law, Vopson similarly expected that entropy in information systems, which his previous research defined as fifth state of matter, should similarly increase over time. But research defined as a fifth state of matter, okay, so that's the same thing.
But wait, go back. There was one new sentence there. But it doesn't.
It doesn't. Yep. Instead, it remains constant or even decreases to a minimum value, at direct contrast to the second law of thermodynamics, which inspired Vopson to adopt the second law of information dynamics. Vopson argues that his law, or this law, plays a role in atomic physics, electron arrangement, cosmology, and biological systems. This last one is where Vopson makes a big claim. Contrary to Charles Darwin's idea that mutations occur randomly, mutations actually occur so that information entropy is minimized. Vopson analyzed the constantly mutating SARS, aka, well, I'm not going to say that, virus, and his paper on that investigation, published this past October in the journal AIP Advances, shows a unique correlation between the information and the dynamics of the genetic mutations. All these claims require significant further testing and verification before even being considered plausible. And as IFL Science notes, there are many research papers refuting our digital existence as they are promoting its scientific inevitability. It's possible that Bobson's second law of infodynamics could lead to some interesting discoveries, but the question first pondered by Plato remains unanswered.
We missed the question proposed by Plato.
Yeah.
I know we're just getting excerpts here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll never buy that theory. That's the one theory that I will not subscribe to.
I'm here for your next one.
I have to say that I find this very interesting discovery. If there's this, and it's not the first time that I've run across this. It is unusual to see information systems that clean themselves up, or like it was saying, entropy, which is just the breakdown of order gradually over time. Like things don't increase in order and complexity on their own. That's the second law of thermodynamics. That points to an intelligent agent. We have to clean our room and maintain our houses, mow the lawn, and all that kind of stuff, or else it gets more and more wild, right? So, what he's saying is there are certain information systems where it improves order, and that is fascinating. And I mean, the whole evolutionary sequence, that's always been a creationist argument against evolution, is like, how can, in a universe that tends towards decay and disorder, produce increasing complexity over time,
Yeah.
So he's observing that within information systems, and I think that's fascinating. There has to be input into the system for order to increase, and so he's leaping to the conclusion of simulation theory. I don't think that's necessarily a warranted leap, but
I agree.
It does point to an intelligence guiding the system. I would agree with that,
Now, to me, that intelligence is God, and that's how the Mandela effect is happening. I think it's God trying to wake us up, show us that this place is not what we thought.
I did enjoy, and I'm not sure. I believe in God for sure. I'm not sure who's behind the Mandela effect, but it seems intelligent. And I'm just wondering if anyone in the chat is at all interested in simulation theory, or are we kind of on the whole against that? I don't like the idea at all personally.
But I'm against it completely.
But it does have one of the larger explanatory force for all the weirdness of this phenomenon. So I think it has to be on the table. It's something we have to engage with. And I listened to the audiobook. I'm wondering if anyone else has read any of Rizwan Virk's stuff. He's kind of been the popular voice who's written books on this topic. Simulated Multiverse is the one I read, and it was one of the few books that actually had a great chapter taking the Mandela effect seriously. So in terms of like a serious treatment of Mandela effect, he did give it some airtime, which I thought was cool. And he's like a computer programmer, a video game guy, so there's lots of interesting stuff that I learned from that book, even if I don't agree with his conclusion. Because personally, my biggest objection to simulation theory is I don't believe that consciousness can be simulated. I don't think that a immortal soul consciousnness can ever be trapped and downloaded in a digital system like a computer,
I
so
agree.
There's my more than 2 cents on that topic.
See, I just think God's the only one that could cause the body changes or the geographical changes.
Well,
move us to another Earth.
That stuff is crazy.
Yeah. So it has to be. And maybe there are other things contributing to it. and I still believe that, but I don't believe that's the main cause. And I certainly don't believe in a simulation, no matter who wants to say what about whatever proof they think they might have. It's just not plausible to me.
Well, I do think these are the two most compelling options on the table. You take your choice between some sort of supernatural agent, God, or someone else that has apparently access to edit reality, or you believe that the whole universe is a digital simulation that can be edited by the outside programmers or whatever. That I don't know what else could possibly account for it.
Yeah.
Well, I believe we're shifting timelines as well.
Well, yeah. So there's the multiverse theory.
I believe
that's on the table too.
I believe it to a point. The residue is the thing that throws a wrench into that.
I agree. I think residue is hard to account for. Well, residue is interesting. It's like a whole topic on its own. But I feel like the merging multiverse thing is most problematic, or has the poorest explanation for why we would see residue. If two timelines merged, why is the real thing gone, but the creative depictions remain?
Yeah.
Well, that's an easy answer. It's because people are creating those things based on their memories.
To a degree, with most
So
of
why
them.
wouldn't those be erased by the merging of timelines?
Because the merging of the timeline happened before they created. The creations were created after the timelines had merged.
Okay.
And they were created by their memories.
But I would posit that we can probably find old residue that's as old as the change, as anyone remembers the change. I could probably dig up for instance, just because I'm a big Union Jack, I'm a Union Jack cake right now. The best old residue for the Union Jack is the flag from the Battle of Trafalgar, the naval Battle of Trafalgar.
Yes, but we don't all shipped at the same time.
And that's in like the 17 or 1800s. I forget when, if not earlier.
See, that what Sandy just said is an important factor. We don't shift at the same time. Like I've said many times on the show and on other shows, I noticed Berenstain Bears in 2020. It was Berenstain Bears for me the year before when I was watching a YouTube video of old Saturday morning cartoons. It was still Berenstain Bears after the change. So how does that happen? I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, and for me, the Union Jack did not shift until this past summer. And everyone else has been noticing it since 2016 or something like that.
Yeah, or all different years in between. Exactly.
I agree. We don't shift at the same time.
It makes you wonder, once it's pointed out to you, is that when you see it?
I think there's something to that.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, let me know when you need me to add something, because I can't see. In Flickr. I'm not telling you to stop talking. I'm just saying I can't see. You have to actually say, add me to the screen so I know. That's all.
Jeff, have you ever posited a different theory? Because Aiden and Abetting says, it's God now. Make up your mind, Jumpy Jeff. Have you ever had a different theory about?
Yeah, I know him. He's just joking around.
Okay. I'm just checking the chat comments since we were being speculative, and I bet they've got some good thoughts here.
I've toyed with all the theories in the past except for simulation and time travel. That's why he said that.
And I agree with Jeff as well. I don't believe it's time travel, because that doesn't even make sense to me. With a lot of the change, like the body.
Yeah, you're not going to tell me time travel changed the kidney location.
Right.
No.
And also, not. The residue wouldn't be here. The memories wouldn't be with us either. We wouldn't have the memories.
Yeah, you would think time travel would erase the memories.
Right. We'd have memories of the new time.
Change. Exactly.
There would be no talk of any of this.
it would affect everyone. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, those are the two theories I rule out: simulation and time travel. Every other theory is on the table for me.
I agree. Same.
Anyone in the chat, is that, have we got any simulation theory people here? I'm willing to keep it on the table. For me, that's the most compelling alternative to a supernatural agent. And I'm not a big fan of the multiverse merging, but I frankly I really hate the simulation theory. I just feel like you can make a good case for it.
I want to believe it's time travel, but it's not. I don't think. Like, that would be a cool theory to believe, but it's not plausible to me.
Yeah, my wildest theory, which along those lines, it is time travel war. Multiple factions going back and forth, but there's just so many things that time travel does not account for in this phenomenon.
Yeah,
the shifting of continents and organ placement. And I don't know. I want to shout Carrie Skates in the chat. Says Union flag is my biggest Mandela. Spent too much time drawing them in school, and red hand bolster flags as well. So
yeah,
we are.
It's a big one.
That's my biggest too. I almost threw up when I saw that thing the first time, the new one.
It looks so ridiculous. Like, how could that have ever been the Union flag? I mean, come on.
and we never noticed it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've sidetracked us enough. If you want to move on to your next piece.
If I have the right one up, I have something ready to go.
Okay, hold on. Well, you have to read the article first.
Where's the article?
The links I gave you.
Oh, okay.
The pictures are on that website, but they're very small. And instead of you trying to zoom into that, because they move around, I put the pictures so people can see them better into Flickr.
Oh, I just want to. This is a good one from Noise Guru. Someone asked me the question of the Berenstein Bears in 1997. So there's an early one, and I've spoken quite a bit with if anybody knows Jacobian.
Yeah, we all know Jacobian.
He's got a great YouTube channel. He kind of explained everything to me with his videos. A lot of stuff he noticed very early before he had any concept, what was going on. He noticed a lot of stuff in the 90s as well.
Yeah, he explains things very well. The music one he did was amazing.
Yes.
That opened people's eyes to it that I knew that weren't really sure.
I think music is great because music delves deep and buries itself in the memory, and the lyrics by heart. And so if it's a song and all of a sudden you listen and it's like that, whoa. It's one of those ones where you just know for sure that you knew that song.
Oh, yeah. And just about every single one I know was different.
Right. Those hit me really hard.
The Jewel one with Who Will Save Your Soul changing to Souls.
That's creepy.
There's a message in there for sure.
I agree.
That one is just nuts. And the Journey one with him saying he twice instead of she.
Yeah, the small town girl morphs into a boy on the train.
Yeah. And there's just so many of them that are so obvious, like Under the Bridge, Red Hot Chili Peppers, City of Angel instead of City of Angels, Painted Black, and Painted Black.
Yeah, City of Angel makes no sense. That's one of these examples I list, and there's several in that song sequence. These are the examples of lyrics that would never happen in any universe.
Mm-hmm.
True. They're filming a music video in Los Angeles, which is the City of Angels, and then he sings a line the city of Angel. The city I live in, the city of Angel. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I saw people trying to justify it online too. I'm like, really? You're really going to reach like that?
There's just no good artist would ever write that line or ever make that mistake and keep it on the record, and then in every live performance, he always says angels.
Yeah.
Question. What is the singular of angels in Spanish? Anyone? I'm actually asking because I can't look it up because I'm uploading.
I don't know Spanish. It'd be El or La. It's El something, right? El Angel.
I'm trying to find out what the city would be called if it was singular. That's all. I'm just curious.
I'm guessing it would be El Angelo, but it's just a guess.
Yeah, that would be, if it ends in an O, it's L.
It would probably be masculine, so.
Well, thankfully, I am done uploading, so I can finally come back.
So the excuse that I saw for this, that people were making, was he wasn't talking about the city at all. He was talking about something else entirely. I forget what it was, but it was so lame and stupid. It's such a dumb excuse.
I couldn't talking about the pet name for his girlfriend's bedroom. his girlfriend named Angel.
Like, they'll come up with anything to try and say we're wrong. It doesn't have to make any sense at all. Joe
Bloor says Ciudad de I think it's Engel. This, like, the G is a
okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's not Ange. It's like
right.
Engel. Like a J.
I get it. Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, thank you, Joe. All right, Jeff. I'm good to go, so I'm here now. We can just go with your segment. Or maybe not.
Strange pillars of light filmed in China.
Wow.
A strange giant-like pillar of light has left locals bemused as it towers over a city in northern China. The video was filmed in the city of Shenyang in Liaoning province on September 8th. Residents are seen taking pictures of the bizarre light formation that appears to rise from behind a building. According to the principal meteorologist named whatever, I'm not reading
Xia.
Xia Chuandong.
Yeah, Xia.
From whatever that word is, Liaoning Meteorological Bureau. There are two main factors for this phenomenon. One is thick clouds and with partial thin clouds, and the second is a lot of water vapor. G, is that how you say it?
Xia.
Xia.
Yeah, that. Said he has never seen the phenomenon before, and there is no scientific name for it yet.
Can we see the picture again? I only know this.
No, there's a video there he's supposed to play.
Oh, it's a video. Okay, yes. Cool.
Oh, there was a video on there?
Yeah. I only know that because the corner store is named Shin Shin. It's Xin. And the store owner told me it's pronounced Shin Shin. Shin Shin.
Shin Shin.
Shin Shin.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here's the video.
There you go.
Okay.
Turn the volume off. I don't know if the music's copyrighted. Turn the volume off. It's on the right. Thank you.
Can we get that full screen?
Yeah, you got to scroll down so we can see this. Actually, see the light.
Scroll up.
Yeah. There you go. You could do that too. Now they're spinning around instead of looking at it.
What are they doing? That's bizarre.
So the only natural thing I could think of is a break in the clouds, but that's pretty darn thick cloud cover.
That's
Play it again so they can see it a little bit more.
Yeah.
The whole time you were showing it, they couldn't see it. It play.
Yeah, play it again with the full screen from the beginning.
Jeff, full screen. Okay,
There we
so
go.
is a
It almost,
hole in the clouds and the sunlight's coming down.
and it sort of looks like the figure of a man.
I see Ghostbusters.
This is really serious Ghostbusters or Independence Day type stuff right here. Yeah, like Zool.
Yeah, when Zool arrived, that's what I'm seeing.
Is there a happy ending? There we go.
Yeah.
There's the happy ending.
While you're looking for the next one, I'm going to do a quick shout out. We have Super Mario Brothers 3. Michael Fontaine is here. Carrie Skates, Mr. Super Sidewinder, who I missed at the end of the show last week. I'm so sorry. Ryu Gamine. We have Go Kart Bob, Joe Bloor, Pushing Buttons 62. Thank you, Pushing Buttons. Noise Guru, JRG Mighty. Let's see. Almost done, I think, because it's the same names over and over and over. That guys, I couldn't go all the way up to the top. It already deleted them for me. Wendy B is here. See, so if I missed you, say hi at the bottom. Moon Freedom is here. I think I saw Hard to Believe earlier.
Go Kart Bob, Michael Fontaine.
I said both of them. I can't scroll up past
Did you say Ryu?
midnight. Yeah, I said Ryu. Anyone who appeared after midnight, I was able to see. Everyone before midnight.
Go before that. We got Aiden and abetting.
Oh yeah, Alf. Alf's in the chat.
Moon Freedom.
Moon Freedom, Monty Powell, welcome. Gina,
Artsy
welcome.
909.
Artsy 909, yay. Hey guys. John Nada's here. That's right. John Nada was here. I don't know if John Nada went to bed, but I'm glad to have seen John Nada in the chat.
I don't know if he's still here. Boston Ray Mud Flood Adventures.
Welcome, Boston Ray.
That was at 10:55, so hopefully he's stuck
That's
around.
what I'm saying. There's Artsy. She's still here. All right, let's add. Oh, Jeff, you didn't read the article yet.
I just read it, didn't I?
No, you did the China one.
Oh.
Hey, Preliminal.
Hey, Preliminal.
Welcome, Wayne Norman Esquire. Good to see you.
All right, so which one am I going to now?
There's two light pillars. One's in Denver and one's in China. We need to go to Denver.
Ah, here we go.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Super Mario, for reminding me of John Nada. We're going to get to them, Preliminal. I have a map one that's blowing my mind. It just doesn't make sense.
Is that a Mandela effect? Jim Carrey? It was always 2 R's for me.
What?
It was always 2 R's for me. Jim Carrey.
Not for me.
Yeah,
It was
remember
one
when-
R.
Are you sure you're not getting it mixed up with Drew Carey?
Absolutely, positively, 1,000 trillion%.
I don't know. I'm not going to buy that one. I'm sorry. I can't.
Nope. Only one R for me.
There's some of them I just can't go with, and that's one of them.
Yeah, Jim
Oh,
Carrey
God.
with 2 R's is so weird. Jeff, I'm sorry, you're alone on that. Most people in the community remember one.
Carry on, my wayward son. That was a joke.
Always 2 R's for me, but the person he did the show with, Keenan Ivory Wayans, that's a big Mandela effect for me. It was Keenan A.N. not EN,
Mhm.
which it is now.
Moon Freedom says the Irish spelling is usually with one R. I'm going to say take out the word Irish and just put the spelling is usually one R.
Is he Irish though?
I wouldn't kiss him either way.
Me either. All right.
Now,
Okay.
Moon Freedom says, I'm Irish, give me a kiss. Not Jim Carrey. So, apparently, this was so shocking to Denver that they put it on the news.
So sun pillar lit up in the sky. If you were looking up at the sky during sunrise on Friday morning and noticed a ray of light shooting up from the sunrise, you were not alone. Several viewers shared with Fox 31 that they saw the pillar of light in the sky.
All right, so the pictures are in Flickr. You can just scroll down.
So should I go to the pictures now?
Yeah, go ahead. You can go to the pictures now because we've already discussed pillars. It's just that this one looked, normally we see light pillars, not sun pillars. Let's put it that way. Normally light pillars, that's what we've covered in the community, happen at night. This one is created by the sun, but then again, so are the ones from, I discovered diamond dust.
You have
This
covered
one's
light
like,
pillars before?
yes.
Like, because I was going to ask if there's any Skinwalker Ranch fans here, because they get these strange spotlight pillars of light, and the at the bottom, it won't go all the way to the earth. It'll just disappear in midair.
Yes.
It'll just, like, it's getting sucked into a black hole in the air. It just stops. Not like a normal beam of light.
Yes. We've covered them. We've
Oh,
covered
okay.
them years ago. But yes.
Well,
but normally they're not because of the sun, which is why I'm showing this one. It kind of looks like a beam coming down from the sky and exploding.
whoa.
Yeah.
Well, that's a 1 in a million sunrise. Is it sunrise?
Yes, sunrise. So, question from the chat. Don't look at the chat. Don't look at the chat, guys. Okay? Where
Okay.
is Dana Carvey from? United States or Canada?
Oh, I don't know that.
Jeff?
Not sure, but I would guess Canada.
I would have guessed Canada too. Michael Fontaine says, Dana Carvey from SNL, this whole time he's Canadian. Now, I love Dana's work, but now he's born in Montana.
What?
That's what I'm saying.
That sounds wrong to me.
That sounds wrong to me too.
Yeah, I thought he was Canadian.
Chat, do you remember him being Canadian? Yes or no in the chat?
I wasn't sure, but I would lean towards Canadian.
Pushing Button says, wow. Ryu says, I have no idea. Moon Freedom says, weird. And Dana Carvey is Canadian.
Mike
Canada.
Myers, I know, was Canadian. Is Canadian.
Is he?
Yeah.
Huh.
And Joe Bloor says Dana Carvey was Canadian, as was Michael Myers. Wendy says yes. They're all Canadian on there. Or New York.
By
yes,
the way,
that's Gar.
no, I don't want to interrupt.
It's okay. Welcome, JT. JT says yes. All right, Jeff, you can move on to the next one. That's all the pictures they provided. I believe the next one is the last one I gave you, pushing buttons.
Is there a Costco thing? Is that a Mandela effect? The spelling
Yes.
of Costco?
The
Because
spelling.
because when he had that website article pulled up before we saw the pictures, there was an ad that appeared for Costco, and I was like, did that always have a T?
Yep, that's an old one.
Well, I'm new here.
I know. It's okay.
But it was COSCO at some point, right? Is that what a lot of people remember?
Yes.
Huh. So I thought that T looked a little funny.
I
It
have
makes
to be
more
honest.
sense, but
I did not have experience with the store, so I'm not affected by it. I don't
yeah,
know it.
I'm
I
too
never
close
shopped
to the
there at all.
change. I'm too close to the change, so I have kind of a dual memory. Because my dad worked there.
However, I am affected by a similar one, BJ's. Are you familiar with BJ's?
No.
Okay, yeah. See, it's regional. It's on the East Coast.
Like, is
But
that like the Indian name, VIJAY, or just the initials?
the initials.
Hmm.
It's B as in boy, J as in Joseph.
Oh, B. B as in boy.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying V, like VJ,
Mm-mm.
the name.
Nope, B as in boy. In my past, it was called BJ's Warehouse. As you can imagine, the boys on the schoolyard in grade school made fun of it incessantly.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's always been BJ's Wholesale Club, but it was BJ's Warehouse,
It
1000%.
was. Yeah.
Oh, look at this! Monty Powell has the memory that Joey has. Chick with a K.
That's
Yeah, a friend of mine has that same memory and an anchor memory from that memory.
oh wow. What's the anchor memory? You know?
She said to her mom, "Why is it spelled wrong like that with just the K and no C? I don't know why," she says to her. They had a whole conversation about it. Now, how did that conversation happen? It was never like
Right. So the only thing I know for sure is that the current spelling is wrong. I'm not sure if it was just a C or just a K, but it's too chunky and long now, and I knew it was misspelled.
Yeah, I remember just C, and I used to say Chick-fil-A as a joke.
Well, that's what Jacobian. That's one of his 5 foundational videos or whatever. But I grew up in Illinois, and we didn't have Chick-fil-A there, so I didn't run into. I could never go to one until I moved to North Carolina in 2010. But my memory matches this one. I thought it was a K, but then it's confusing because they had the cows that always write chicken with a K, so I could be conflating that. I just know it's way too chunky and long now.
Yeah, I noticed a change in like 06, 07. And I said to my wife at the time, my ex-wife now, it used to be spelled CHIC. And then she looked it up and she said, no, it wasn't. I said, yeah, it was. I don't care what the internet says. I remember it.
Right. And so Jacobian also shares that memory of the Chick-fil-A jokes that he used to make. And you're never going to do that with the current spelling. It's just, that's an awesome anchor memory because no one would ever make that joke if it didn't have just a C, you know?
Right. And that's how we know for sure something's happening, because those kind of things wouldn't exist. They wouldn't have happened, and we remember them.
Right. And that's a pretty widespread joke, that one about the Chick-fil-A. Yeah. Confused
Brian
people.
MacFarlane worked there, and he remembers CHIC.
Yeah, I think Jacobian's mom worked there.
Mm-hmm. Does she remember CHIC?
Yeah, and he shows, well, I can't remember if she does, but he shows a bunch of people's LinkedIn accounts who were high-ranking managers and stuff that are spelling it with just a C.
Yeah, and then why would they spell it wrong?
Like you're that high up in the organization, you don't know how to spell it yet.
Right, and something would have been said to them by the higher ups, I'm sure. Why are you spelling it like that? Why are you spelling it wrong? You know,
Yep.
somebody would have said something.
Yeah.
All right, so this comes from Pushing Button 62. Do you have the video first? Not the photos, the video.
Yeah.
With pushing button, I want to say pushing button 64, just because it sounds like Nintendo, you know, and it's it's like an N64 game.
A lot of people claim it was 63. I remember 62. But some
Is
people
that a
remember
birthday
63.
year or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
I remember Brian Stavely without the extra E at the end of his name.
Well, he says his own neighborhood changed. His own
Yeah.
neighborhood changed name,
It
which
sure
is crazy.
did. I've seen those videos. It definitely
Centralville versus Centerville. Centralville, yeah.
The people
Yeah.
who live there don't even know it changed.
I did a show with him where we talked about on his channel, where we talked about Centerville, Centralville, and I lost your sharing screen. I was about to add you. And the town near me that changed, it was Narbeth, and now it's Narberth. And then there was another thing I looked up for him. It was a river in his town. So we covered all three. I don't know. I think that was on his old channel that got taken down. But we did a whole live stream just on those three things. Way back in 2019. Jeff, I don't know if you heard me. You stopped sharing. I can't see it.
I just want to point out that his own neighborhood changing is a good example.
Oh, we lost Jeff. His computer crashed. And really quickly, Push a Button says it was my uncle's lucky number before he donated it to me.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, thank you. JT remembers. It was the Merrimack River. Thank you. Isn't that horrible? I'm the one who not the Mackinac. No, the Merrimack. I can't even remember it, and I'm the one who covered it.
Wait, what's the difference?
I have to look it up.
Old versus new. Okay.
I have to go into Flickr and look.
Well,
Welcome, Joseph Zepso. Go ahead. What were you saying?
On Stavely's neighborhood change, which used to be Centerville and now is Centralville, which that does not roll off the tongue. That's a stupid name. I know that, you know, we sometimes theorize that if a change is too close to you, that you don't notice it. Like, you know, people's last names change. And I've just heard it speculated that if it's something that you're very familiar with, you're less likely to notice the change. And I just want to point out Brian's neighborhood change is a great example of how something can be very, very close. It's the neighborhood you live in, and it seems like everybody noticed, you know. Like nobody took the update in his neighborhood.
Right, that's a good point. Plus, Brian MacFarlane working at Chick-fil-A is another example of that, and remembering the old spelling.
I did say that. You probably didn't hear me because you were crashing.
Yeah.
Merrimack is now, I'm putting it in the chat. Absolutely not. The river now has a CK at the end, just like Chick-fil-A.
Oh. Michael Fontaine, it's in Groundhog Day. What's in Groundhog's Day?
Yeah,
and
what
also,
is in Groundhog Day?
What's also strange about that whole Centerville thing is Ed McMahon being from Brian's hometown. And that whole thing changed with Publishers Clearinghouse and American Family Publishers now he worked for. And that's still my biggest Mandela effect. I could still hear it in my head from when I was a kid. Him saying, Ed McMahon saying, Publishers Clearinghouse Sweepstakes.
Mhm.
Why would I remember that if he never worked for them?
Rod Sterling is another big one for me. And I know you're not affected by it, Jeff, but it was Sterling, 1,000,000,000%
It
for
would
me.
make more sense for it to be Sterling because that's an actual last name, not Serling. I'm just not affected by it because I never noticed it really one way or another.
Michael Fontaine is clarifying that Centerville is in Groundhog Day, the movie. That neighborhood is in Groundhog's Day? That's amazing. I'm going to have to watch for that. It's one of my favorite movies.
Wait a minute. The Massachusetts Centerville? Because Groundhog Day takes place in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe not the same place.
Yeah.
Groundhog Day.
Hi, Jency. Welcome.
Jency.
So, Jeff, you were pulling up Pushing Buttons video when you crashed.
Oh, yeah.
Same, Monty. And that's also a very strong memory for me. Bernstein Bears. But it was Bernstein for you. And I know some of you remember it as Burn.
I remember people used to say that, but I just assumed that they were just saying it wrong.
No, people actually... You know what? It's just like Chick-fil-A. We see incremental changes all the time. Okay? I believe it went from CHIC to CHIK to CK. And with Bernstein, I think it was Bernstein first, then Berenstein, then Berenstain.
That would have been way too Jewish. And they were Jewish.
Yeah, I will just chip in here that the spelling that Monty Powell has listed as the BERN is better German. But I remember REN
which could have been Americanized when they came over.
Yeah, you never.
America.
Well,
right,
now
there's
they're
lots.
supposedly German, or they were supposedly German, but they were Jewish.
They were also from Pennsylvania. I used to pass through their town, taking Joey to work when I had a car and he worked an hour away.
Preliminal is saying Norway was next to Sweden in my reality. It still is. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
He says, correction, Norway wasn't next to Sweden in my reality.
Oh, okay. Well, that's I was a huge Scandinavian fan. That I was obsessed with Scandinavian. It was always Norway, Sweden, Finland from west to east for me.
And Monty Powell has a correction saying it was CHIC for me. I messed up and put it a K. It's okay. But there are a lot of people who remember just CHIK as well. Like my Joey.
I know a few.
Welcome, DD70 Ken Rats. Sorry. You're on screen. This is Pushing Buttons, everyone. It's a daytime unidentified flying object. I have photos because it's a little jumpy, so I took photographs. We'll see the pictures afterwards. But just keep in mind, this thing appears, disappears, and reappears. Because to me it looks like a cloud, but it's not, because clouds don't do that. So in some frames it looks like a cloud. Like I said, clouds do not disappear and reappear again. So not a cloud. Let's go. Oh, and video is linked in the description. Hey, I'm for Christ. Hey, Damien G. Welcome, guys.
Oh.
Yeah, it jumps in and out. That's why I took the pictures. And it's very hard to see.
Is it
because
come back?
It does. It does come back. Jeff, did you know you could zoom in on a YouTube video?
Oh, I faintly saw it at the end there.
I actually couldn't.
Okay, it's fine. We can go to Flickr now and look at the pictures. That way they can see it close up. So thank you for sharing that, pushing buttons. Again, this video is linked in the description. If you aren't subscribed, I suggest maybe you do.
Did he
Especially if you
film
like
that
video game
himself?
stuff. Yes.
Oh, wow.
hmm And here are the screenshots. So when I zoomed in on YouTube, because you can zoom on a YouTube video now, here's what I saw. So credit pushing button 62. Check out his channel, please. Like and subscribe his video on his channel.
Do that.
No, not even control scroll, Noise Guru. If you click on it, if you double tap on this on an iPad, it zooms in 2.5 times. But yeah, control scroll works too. You're welcome, Pushin. Go ahead, try it with the stream right now. See if you guys can double tap or click or anything on the screen to see if you can zoom it in a little bit. I don't know how on PC because I don't have one. All I have are tablets and phones. Jeff, you can go on. So we can see the shapes changing. That is not a cloud at all.
It had a very ethereal look to it, kind of like a I don't know, a misty light. It's hard to describe that.
Yeah, or it could even be a ghost.
It does not look. This is one of the weird things about UFOs. You know, like not all of them are discs, silver metallic
or
things.
solid.
Yeah, this looks more like a plasma thing or whatever.
There was, if I can find it, I will put it in a news segment. I saw a YouTube video when YouTube was brand new, and it was in Philadelphia, a UFO that looked just like a cloud. And you could tell it was a UFO. It was not acting like a cloud. But it looked just like a cloud, like totally incognito mode, you know?
There it is. It's like a
wispy
spray paint puff.
And the fact that he caught this with his phone is kind of amazing. That it was so hard to see from far away. You have to zoom in. Hey, Cuber, it's good to see you. Jeff, anything else for us tonight, or are you going to end here?
I think that's it.
Okay. Well, guys, it's time for Mandela Effects, and I'm very sorry to those of you who saw my stream with Brian, because we do have to do the last two, the last two from Brian's show, because I need them here on this show.
Those are which ones?
And there's people here tonight that did not see Brian's show. Those would be the ones, the Campbell soup and the one before it. Oh, the broccoli.
Okay.
Start with broccoli and then move over.
Yeah, I didn't see Brian's show either.
How dare you? I'm kidding.
And I wasn't able to join like I wanted to either.
Oh, by the way, Pushing Buttons is saying that UFO did look metallic with the naked eye.
See, that's even crazier, and that's actually more indicative of the UFO to me.
And I just want to say, because I'm in the UFO world, it is not uncommon to witness one thing very clearly with your eyes and to try to film it and to get something completely different on the recording. It's also not even uncommon for two people standing right next to each other to see two different things, and they're looking at it simultaneously. And not like, oh, I didn't have the right words or know how to describe it, but like one person sees one thing and the other sees something completely different.
Excuse me, Jeff, that's the wrong one. That's not broccoli.
I thought you said Campbell soup.
Yeah, I said do broccoli first.
I like Campbell's soup better.
I know. We're going to do broccoli first. Get it out of the way. That's interesting. Super Mario Brothers says very first YouTube video was titled "Me at the Zoo" from 2005. I
And
remember you. I'm sorry.
Pushing Buttons says, yeah, Sherry has a story like that. I think he's talking about different about.
Oh, the perspectives.
Yeah, like witnesses right there at the same time seeing two different things, and you'll even have other people that can't see it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I can't show the broccoli one.
Why?
It's not loading any of the photos.
What?
Yeah.
You got to refresh your screen. Something's happening there. We were able to show it just fine on Brian's show.
Nope, I refreshed it. It's not there. Now it says this is not the page you were looking for.
What?
You're getting Jedi mind tricked.
Yeah, right?
Hold on, I'm going to Flickr and looking myself.
And now it's just gone. What is going on here? What is happening?
I got to tell you, the internet's been acting weird for me for the last couple days. Okay, I can still see it. It's still here.
My computer doesn't like broccoli.
I guess not. I'm going to send you the link to the website so you can just go to it, okay?
See the
Heading in Messenger now,
Campbells.
sending you the link. There you go. Try it that way. See if that works.
Okay.
And there's a lot of people here who did not see Brian's show, so.
That's not even the one. What is going on here?
That is the one. That's the White House.
No, it wasn't the one.
What do you mean?
It's not the one. It's President's. It's a different one entirely.
President's statement event, not in my
Wait,
reality.
is that part of it?
Yeah.
Oh, that is it.
This is what I think it is. It is in my reality, but we'll see.
That is that. Not in mine, but it's okay. It wasn't in anyone's in the chat either. So, guys, this is an odd one, but it's absolutely a Mandela effect for me. What I'm about to present was a huge deal, yet I have zero memory of this. So, yes or no? You're going to answer no. And if it's a yes for you, you're going to answer which president and what food. Okay? Do you remember a U.S. president in the 90s having a hatred for a food similar to my hatred of celery?
Yes, 100%.
All right, you don't answer though. I want to hear the chat first.
If yes, which president and what was the food?
Yep.
Father and son, Super Mario? Preliminals, no. Noise Guru says yes. Ryu knows because he already saw this. Cuberts, no. Noise Guru says Bush hates Brussels sprouts.
We talked about this on the phone, and I could only remember that Reagan really did like jelly beans.
Yes, and I knew that one. Jelly Belly specifically. That's what the Jelly Belly on the map.
So the answers in the chat are what I remember.
Well, no, there's answers for both. I'm getting no's too.
No, the ones
you gotta remember, a lot of these people are saying, Jeff, like Jency had no idea. She knows because she saw Brian's show. You understand? Get it? They're answering.
No, they're answering what I remember.
I understand. I get you. All right, we can go on.
Michael Fontaine answered it. Gianna answered it.
Yeah, I know. There's a couple that remember it. I get that.
Oh, no,
but there's also no's in the chat too. Go ahead.
Sushi.
I mean, it's an easy thing to miss because who really cares?
I don't think it's an easy thing to miss. I'm going to show you why. Go
Okay.
ahead. You have to go on.
Bush and shrimp. Everybody knows Bush hates something.
My family.
You don't have, this one you have to play. This is from Barbara and George Bush on their YouTube channel.
Okay.
Is divided. I do not like broccoli, and I haven't liked it since I was a little kid, and my mother made me eat it, and I'm president of the United States, and I'm not going to eat any more broccoli. Now, for the broccoli vote out there, Barbara loves broccoli. My family is...
So I do not remember this ever being on television. I have no memory at all of President George H.W. Bush refusing to eat broccoli. I have no memory of him going on national television and giving a speech. But if it was just this speech, I could say, okay, maybe I missed this. But it's not. It's not just the speech. It is really not just the speech. Preliminal says, I never heard that. Hey, Damien, I can't see what they're talking about.
Noise Guru says they dumped it on the White House lawn.
They did. Well, oh, do you remember them dumping it?
No.
That's interesting. Well, yeah, but if Noise remembers them dumping it, that could be a Mandela.
I'm imagining a big giant dump truck full, just giant pile.
If that happened, that's the Mandela for me.
Okay, what's next? Go on next.
Hey, we got C-3PO's golden calf here.
Hey, C-3PO, good to see you.
Hey, C-3PO.
And Eddie Van Keen is here. Welcome. In January 1990, a pure coincidence because he did not say the quote until March 1990, Campbell's Soup released cream of broccoli soup for the first time. Together with Campbell's Soup, Women's Day magazine ran a recipe contest called How to Get President Bush to Eat His Broccoli.
California growers. The donation and delivery to the White House were prompted by a statement recently made by President Bush that he disliked the vegetable.
Okay, you can pause it. I just needed to hear that part. And the United Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Association brought a ton of broccoli, 10,000 pounds to be exact, to Bush's front door to help feed the poor. Does anyone remember any of it?
Are they going to show them dumping it?
No, it's on that table. Actually, hit play for a second. Let's get to the lawn. And also, everyone, look at the C in C-SPAN. We'll rewind and not play it when it's over. So see it? It's right there on the underneath the word South Lawn. Notice that George does not come out.
Well, good morning, and Mrs. Bush. We're here today on behalf of the Optimus Produce Sales.
Because this is long. I just want to show you that's the broccoli they showed, but they donated 10,000 pounds of broccoli, and I don't remember the C in C-SPAN being like it's falling down like that. It's also smaller.
It's like a crescent moon there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also smaller than SPAN. Like the letters in SPAN, it's
it
smaller.
should be straight, vertical, no nonsense, I think, right?
I don't remember any of this stuff. I just remember a separate speech where he said, I dislike something. I don't remember what it was. I dislike such and such a thing as much as I hate broccoli. Or I hate such and such a thing as much as I hate broccoli. That's the only time I ever heard him mention it.
Well, wait, hold on. Also, C-SPAN has like an outline around it. I don't remember that as well. The whole thing's wrong. I just want to point that out. I also want to welcome Mustard Seed of Faith to the chat and Daniel Wiley. Good to see you both. I think that's everybody who snuck in while we were playing the video. Yep, we can go on. There's also bumper stickers, t-shirts, and cards, which also makes me believe I should have heard of this, but haven't. There's even a book, Why George Should Eat Broccoli. And read my lips, I do not like broccoli. So dumb, I can't. There's so much stuff about this. I should have heard of it, and I've never heard of it.
So that's where I agree with you. There's too much stuff about this. It was just a random statement he made once for me. And not even in the video that we showed. It was different.
Yeah.
It wasn't this big thing.
And in 2016, it made the rounds again because President H.W. Bush posted to Twitter a letter he received from a little boy urging him to eat his broccoli. He said no. Can you zoom in on the tweet on the bottom left, please? Proud of young Cooper's interest in healthy eating, his declared love of broccoli is genuine, if also unpersuasive. Shot down a 5-year-old. I mean, it's everywhere. There's so much stuff. So much.
I want to chime in because we talked about this on the phone, and I couldn't come up with it initially, but when you said it was broccoli and you laid something aside, I was like, that vaguely rings a bell for me.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it might have happened. And it looks like there's a few people in the chat that remember it pretty well. So
for me, it's a partial Mandela. It wasn't this big production. He just mentioned it randomly once or twice.
For me and a couple people in the chat, it's a complete Mandela. It was on Saturday Night Live. I never heard of this.
I don't know if this is a joke or what. Daniel Wiley says they also passed a vegetable anti-defamation law, stating it was unlawful for any elected official to publicly denounce a particular vegetable.
You know what? I could see that. Even though it's probably a joke, but I could see that because, you know, it looks bad. You know, kids should be eating their vegetables. You know?
Many years ago, if I heard that, I would have said no way. But the way things are these days, I believe it.
I mean, the real question, though, is did he not try it with melted cheese all over it? Because that's the secret.
Not for me, but I get it.
The winning recipe was a lemon cream chicken or something. Hubert says it's brand new for me. Preliminal said it was new. You can go on. There's more. Here's the bumper sticker. Eat it, George.
That's awesome.
For me, that wouldn't have been about broccoli, but nevertheless. Not a fan of the Bushes.
Wait, Noise Guru says the thing is he got so much flack about broccoli that he said I was mistaken. I hate Brussels sprouts.
Oh.
Brussels sprouts or Brussels sprouts? Another dumb.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started on that one. That's a big one too.
I hate that.
I have so that happened to me. That might be an example of an early Mandela effect before I knew about the thing. Because I work at a brew pub. I'm a brewmaster, but I work at a brew pub restaurant, and because I was an English major, before they publish any menus, they have me proofread them. So I go through and I check all the stuff, and so I was going through the menu trying to figure out, you know, what things need to be capitalized and don't, just doing like the fine-tooth comb on all the spelling. And I remember Brussels sprouts. I was like, yeah, is that a capitalized one or not? And I Googled it, and I was really surprised to find that it's Brussels sprouts. And I was like, well, that is the city. And they blend together. Brussels sprout. If you just say Brussels sprouts, you know, it kind of merges. But I'm like, I was really bowled over by that. That was probably 7 or 8 years ago. And I was like, oh, yeah, I never knew that.
Because we shipped at different times.
I just moved on. But I was really surprised by that at the time. So
I have an interesting story about that I never told on any of the shows yet. When I first found out about that change, of course, in 2020, when I was first officially affected, even though I'd noticed changes way, way before that, decades before that. So I found out about the change, and I looked, because I worked in a supermarket, went in work and I looked, and I saw it said Brussels sprouts on some of them, but some of them still said Brussels sprouts. And then as time went on, I would keep looking as I was at work, and they all said Brussels on it.
wow.
Incremental for me even after I found out about the change.
So there was a time when you became aware of the change, but you were still seeing the singular spelling.
Yes, until it just completely disappeared.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, because working in a supermarket, I got to see all this stuff all the time.
We're going through that same thing right now with Haas avocados. And Stavely posts about this. He and I both live in North Carolina now, and we have a supermarket called Food Lion.
Mm-hmm.
I was just there yesterday, bought some avocados, and I think when he did a video this year where he got a receipt, and he was showing his receipt, and it said Haas, Haas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I rang these up last night, and it was funny because it's one of these items where you can't just scan it. You have to go into the menu and select which vegetable you're buying. Mm-hmm. So in the lookup from the menu, you click on the A section and then you see avocados, and you click on that, and then it's like, which avocado do you have? The big green ones, or do you have Haas? And on that button, it was spelled Haas. I clicked on that button, and then in my receipt stream, it had Hass.
Oh, wow. So it did change in the POS.
Yes. And Stavely's video was him showing the receipt with Haas. So it's they're fixing it, but they didn't quite get the menu yet. It's incrementally shifting more and more to Hass.
Wow, he got there just in time to get it.
Yeah. So I caught that one last night.
That's crazy. Christopher, you're down to the last 3 minutes, but if you can, try to stick around for the question on the next one. I really want to know what you remember.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So, Jeff, we're going to move on. This is the last slide. That's why. I included it because this is true. He banned broccoli from Air Force One. So much stuff happened that I find this hard to believe that I've never heard it at all.
You would think you would have, yeah.
Yeah. So now it's your turn, guys. Let me know what you remember in the comments.
Is this the one you want my answer to?
Yes, the one that's coming up. Yep.
Oh, not this. Not the current one.
No, the Campbell soup one. That's why I wanted
Oh, okay.
I want to mention something. Every day when I listen to the radio in my car, there's a commercial that plays, and they're talking about an ad for Haas avocados. They say it that way every time.
Mm-hmm. Well, even though it's spelled Hass, I still hear people pronounce it Haas. I don't know why.
Because they remember it like we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's someone should look into this in the history of that. But Haas is definitely a Dutch spelling, whereas Hass
that's German, right?
Is the German word for hate.
Yeah, exactly. Another German change, which is a pattern.
And the other pattern is the Mandela effect choosing to opt for more ominous things, like Baron Steen becomes Stain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shoot, what is it called? what was that thing? Sunburst. Shoot. I can't remember what I'm trying to say. We'll just move on to Campbell's.
Okay. Jeff, you want to read this one?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
That's where you're supposed to start. Yep.
Okay. That CERN, I can honestly say I believe whatever they are really doing down there, it absolutely amplifies the Mandela effect. This week has been filled with crazy MEs, and this one is no exception. Question 1, yes or no? In your past, have you ever heard of or were told that Campbell's sold fruit soups?
What?
Or
No.
fruits for short.
I know the Mandela effect is like a comedy show too.
It is.
It's Campbell's Fruit of the Loom soup.
And like most humor these days, nobody gets it.
Fruit soups? I've never heard of a fruit soup. Period.
Why would you even? I don't get it.
So Jency, push a button, screamed no. Jency said no. Fruit soup, yuck.
Oh, fruit cocktail. That's a fruit soup.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me, Noise Guru.
Tomato is a fruit.
Excluding tomato. Not talking about tomato. Actual, what you would consider fruit without being told it's a fruit.
That guy's vigilant.
Well, we mentioned it on Brian's show. Brian mentioned it, and I had to specify there as well, excluding tomatoes.
Is that a Mandela? Tomato being a fruit?
I learned it in school when I was a kid. It's because the seeds are on the inside.
Oh, I learned it maybe 15 years ago or something like that.
And that's why I think like some of the berries are not berries because the seeds are on the inside, like a blueberry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the definition of fruit is it's the reproductive, thing that you can plant and grow a new plant from. So if it's the part that produces a new plant when you bury it in the ground, it's a fruit. If it's some other part of the plant, it's a vegetable.
Or a berry.
Leaf.
Or a berry. Because a banana's a berry now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know the definition of a berry, but a fruit, like avocado is also a fruit. It's just the way we consume them. I mean, it's science versus culinary definitions here, guys. It's like you
in my old reality, if it's sweet, it's a fruit. If it's not, it's a vegetable.
Yeah, because that's going by culinary, usage versus scientific. It's the part of the plant that so cucumber's a fruit, by the scientific definition.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the thing that grows to reproduce the plant that you plant in the ground and another one grows, versus a leaf or a stalk or a root. Those are the vegetables. And this always pissed me off because I learned this from a young age, but I'm like, I'm sorry, tomato's not a fruit by like the way that a kid thinks about it,
Yeah.
So JT says no fruit soups, and C3PO's Golden Calf says, what's the difference between that and fruit cocktail? That's a good point.
I mentioned that a few minutes ago. Except
fruit cocktail.
Yeah.
You're not going to eat the juice like that.
This bowl looks gross.
It's
I eat the juice like that.
The difference. No. I'm saying the difference is the broth it's in.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Don't tell me it's a salty broth.
No, it's not. But fruit cocktail's more like a syrup. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's
syrupy, yeah.
Yeah. But that is a good point. Let's see. We have fruit soup, gross for Ryu.
Oh, that's a great emoji right there.
Monty is fruit cocktail, but not fruit soup. Yuck again from Jency. Took the words out of my mouth, suspicion.
This whole thing is making my day, this fruit soup.
No fruit soup for you, Super Mario Brothers 3.
I'm not mad at that. Look, they did put a sprig of mint on top. That's what makes it a soup.
Eddie Von Keen says back in the 50s it competed with other canned fruit. I don't know. Canned fruit's more like a compote. It's thick. You know what I'm saying? It's like...
Canned fruit, no problem, but who called it a soup ever?
Campbell's did.
Okay.
Right,
this is hell no. Where is this going?
Gina says no. It's going to fruit soup.
Black cherry with burgundy fruit soup. Wow, it's got wine. And it's condensed. What?
Yes. So I was not alive in 1959. Oh, you're reading. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeff.
I was not alive in 1959, but my parents and grandparents were. Not once did I hear them mention Campbell's making fruit soups, not even from my uncle who worked at the factory. So while I can't say this is definitely a Mandela effect, I suspect it may be.
Pushing buttons. Would you mind sending that to my messenger? Because I can't click links in StreamYard. I can't even copy them.
We need some boomers to weigh in on this one.
I did ask some.
Do we have any boomers in the chat? Do we have any boomers in this channel? I don't think boomers are onto the Mandela effect.
That's not true.
They are.
Okay.
Yeah, I know quite a few of them, and I asked, and none of them knew this.
Well, I'm going to ask my parents. My mom grasped the Mandela instantly when I started quoting Bible verses, and she was like, "Oh no," you know. So I'm going to have to ask her about Campbell's fruit soups.
Chris.
There's 3 different kinds?
Jency said, I'm a boomer.
Okay, we have them here.
Said,
good.
Yuck, no. Pushing Button said, I asked my mom. She said no.
Okay.
Same for my parents. No, says Jency.
Good.
Go-Kart Bob's a boomer. Do you remember fruit soup? Go-Kart Bob? Mr. Super Sidewinder says, I'm a boomer.
Okay,
you guys remember fruit soup?
I'm glad that this is a very intergenerational phenomenon that everybody's waking up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, boomer, I'm going to read now.
Yeah, I'm the Luddite behind the times millennial, so I don't know how anything works. Go ahead.
Wait, I'm sorry, really quick. Both Go-Kart Bob and Mr. Super Sidewinder saying no fruit soups.
Yeah, that's what fruit soup. What do you do with that?
This is ridiculous. This is absolutely a Mandela.
Can you also read the words with the description? The words is the word picture after you're done reading the words at the bottom, please.
Yeah. Who wants some prune, orange, and apricot soup?
I know. I just don't even get me started.
Prunes are just bad.
And they're all boiled and mushy.
Gross.
Prune, orange, and apricot soup.
It was made to be eaten hot, and came in orange, black cherry, and prune, double ew flavors. But it was also suggested to be eaten cold or poured cold over your hot or cold cereal.
Part of this complete breakfast.
Oatmeal, but other than that, no, just no.
Poured it over your cold cereal.
Oh.
Skip the milk. Pour Campbell's fruit soup on your breakfast cereal.
I could say maybe the black cherry with burgundy on oatmeal would be okay. But that's it.
I can see it with yogurt. Keep it off my cereal.
Oh, but Jeff, can you please read the word part there, the flavors specifically? Right above it in
the middle box.
Yeah.
Black cherry with burgundy, prune, orange.
Oh no! Below it, the white, the white box of just words. It's more specific. That's why.
Grapes.
So
Yes, Campbell's produced fruit soups that were eaten hot or cold. Flavors were orange fruit soup with apricots and white grapes, prune fruit soup with oranges and apricots, and black cherry fruit soup with burgundy. Suggestions for serving prune fruit soup include eating it at breakfast over soup.
Oh. No.
Breakfast of champions.
Wildly popular, I'm sure.
Question 2. The famous jingle, please fill in blank. That's blank. Campbell's soups are good.
I don't remember anything other than good.
It's good, good. That's blank. Campbell's soups are good. It begins with a W, everyone. The word we're looking for begins with a W.
I mean, the only thing that makes sense is why, but I don't remember the sentence.
Okay, so pushing buttons says why.
That's me filling in the blank logically. All I remember is good. I don't remember a sentence.
That's interesting. Because they used
Is
to
anybody
sing
with
it in
me?
every commercial in the 80s and 90s. No, we know this song.
They said it after that, too.
Well, this is where I could just be wrong. I haven't watched TV in 2 decades, so...
You haven't missed much.
Oh, wait. JT says why. Go-Kart Bob says what? Go-Kart Bob, are you answering because you saw it yesterday?
What doesn't make any sense? That's what.
Let's see. Anyone else before we go on?
Jency says why?
Mr. Super Sidewinder says what?
I mean, why is the only logical possibility?
Last night, it was 100% in the chat, and tonight it's 50-50.
What?
That's what is not even possible unless it stops with an exclamation point right there. That's what Campbell, which no one would say. Come on now.
No, I explained it to Jeff. That's what Campbell's soups are, period.
Oh, okay. That's what. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, if you...
It doesn't work in a single. It just doesn't.
Punctuation is everything here.
All right, guys, we can go on.
If you have the current memory, that's okay. But for those of you that share my memory, this one may hit hard. The missing word that I remember was why.
It was always why for me.
But it's not why anymore. That's what Campbell's soups are. Good. Never. I saw it written on billboard, ballpark, and commercials, and heard in a song a million times. It was why, not what. Exactly.
That should say, and I heard the song a million times. It auto-corrected to in.
Manscuse alert. Second grader creates new verse to classic good jingle. Quick to heat, great to eat. That's why Campbell's soups are such a treat. I can just hear the Manscuse now. You're just remembering the new verse that I have never heard before from 2001. Nope.
Yep, never heard it before.
I need to hear the jingle. I'm going to look this up.
Mustard seed, where you're going to hear it. Mustard seed of faith
great.
says, "Why are you missing?"
That's what Campbell's soups are. Good.
All right, pause it before you play it again. It's hard to hear it because of the piano hitting that high note. You can hear the at the end really well if you listen.
Oh, shoot. I thought that said why.
So here's
you're hearing the piano.
Here's a commercial with the current reality, but the person who uploaded it wrote my memory in the description.
That's what Campbell's soups are.
Oh, crap.
Good.
Yeah, that was what?
And you don't remember that now? You don't remember hearing it?
I don't know this jingle. Like, I don't remember the whole sentence. Good. Clearly, I wonder if, I'm a child of the 90s, so, you know, what was happening in the late 90s? I feel like they might not be saying the whole sentence by that.
No, it's been around since 1931.
Are they still using it?
They still use it.
Well, this is one of those things where this is kind of one of my things I hammer on with the Mandela effect. So I don't have a strong memory here, but just based on grammar and logic, the natural thing you put there is why.
Yep.
And I feel like this is one of those things where it tries to get away with a little change, but it's not quite as well constructed of a sentence.
Right.
And there's nothing little with something this iconic. Because I'm telling you, Chris, like this is, especially in my area, because this is where Campbell's Soup is from. It's from Camden, New Jersey. And my uncle worked there. It's really big here. Like Citizens Bank Park. Well, I don't know so much Citizens Bank Park still does it. But when we had Veterans Stadium, everything was sponsored by Campbell's. Like they would give away the little Campbell's kids and things like that. Like Campbell's was everywhere in my childhood. And this is breaking my brain. It was why.
No,
1,000,000%.
So you've got this strong memory, and I just want to say, so for me, I don't have a strong memory, but I feel like this is a case where we can logically reconstruct a creator's logic or sensibility. And if you look at the title of this video, it can make you feel new again. That's the title of the commercial.
And the response
So here's the argument. The argument is it can make you feel new again. Therefore, that's why Campbell's soups are good. If you're making this is how arguments work. Like, you know, statement or assertion, conclusion. So, and I'm guessing, and I haven't even seen this, that they ran a whole series of these ads where they led with a premise, and then they said that's why Campbell's soups are good, because it can do this, 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 and this.
Right. That's what.
Am I right?
Yeah.
See, look, and I've never even seen all these commercials, and I just reconstructed this based on, you know, like intuition of English and you know, marketing logic and whatnot. So, what does not fit in this sentence? It makes the argument worse. This is such a pattern with Mandela effect that I've come to rely on it. Even if I don't have a memory personally, if I see that there's a breakdown in the reasoning or logic, there's a breakdown in the structure, and it becomes less intelligible, I'm like, that's guaranteed to be Mandela effect.
Yeah, I agree.
And
it just doesn't sound grammatically correct.
Right. I want to point this out because this is possibly my earliest encounter with the Mandela effect, and I had no idea what was going on. And this is all the way back in the mid 90s, right? Sarah Lee.
Yeah, that one.
I was just going to say, it reminds me of that change.
So this was a shock to me. The only thing I've ever heard is nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. And I always thought from the moment I first heard that as a kid, nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. Why would you say that? That's a weird double negative sentence. I don't know why you would say that. And so I used to make fun of that when I was a kid. I just thought that was stupid. And it was only last summer. Who's the guy that has the account that does all the newspaper clippings, just like extensive newspaper old residue stuff? You guys knew?
Nathan.
Yeah.
Winters.
I think, yeah. So I found
I'm missing
page.
part of the name. But Hold on really quick. Hi,
Nathaniel
Propagate this
Hebert.
light. What?
Is it Nathaniel Hebert?
Nathaniel Hebert. That's it. Not Winters. Nathaniel Hebert.
Right.
You are correct. Thank you.
So I somehow stumbled across his Flickr account or whatever it is, where he's just got these giant folders of old residue, and it's crazy because
yeah, that's his.
know,
that's the Mandela effects database on Flickr.
I thought the Mandela effect probably started, no earlier than 2008 or something like that. And he just has file folders of old newspapers with this crazy old stuff. And that's when I saw he highlighted a this is back before the internet. Like, people wrote into their local newspaper.
Oh yeah.
Someone made a bet. It was like two co-workers at the same company, and the one guy was like, "It's nobody does it like Sarah Lee. That's what it's always been." And his coworker was like, "No, man, I'll bet you, $500 or whatever." And they wrote into the local newspaper to, look into the case and weigh in on it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked to the company, and they're like, "No, it's always been nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee." And I was like, whoa, mind blown. There's a guy in the 90s that strongly remembers nobody does it like Sarah Lee. And that was the first time in my life that sentence made logical sense. I was like, oh, nobody does it like Sarah Lee. That's the kind of sentence that a marketing person would come up with for a major ad campaign, and you could just see how it was warped in this typical Mandela pattern to be something that's plausibly deniable, but kind of makes sense, but isn't as good.
Yeah, that's why we go to the newspapers a lot and look at old magazines and things like that, because we find residue everywhere. Like, I found a coin of merging letters in the 1800s.
But that's
especially when I found that the second incremental Mandela effect with interview with a vampire. I was actually talking to Nathaniel Hebert on Twitter. I asked him if he would mind if I used, because I was doing a thing on interview with a vampire in my first video, and I asked him if I could use some of his clippings from his Flickr account, and he said sure. And while I was talking to him, I was like, oh my God, Nathaniel, do you remember this being here? And he did not. So he had put all those clippings in there and had never seen the Vampire Chronicles. So the Vampire Chronicles was in most of his clippings, and he had never seen it, even though he had uploaded it before.
Yeah.
So that's why we watch those. But that's where we get a lot of our residue from, is from old newspapers, old magazines. Yeah, this stuff goes back forever.
Residue for the Remnant. Shout out to him. His YouTube channel does pretty much strictly King James Version Bible changes. And he's always going to the newspaper clippings for those. But this is what blew my mind. This was my first encounter that, this wasn't something that just started in the late, 2000 aughts. This was a change that people were disputing and noticing in the 90s, early to mid 90s, without being aware of the larger phenomenon, before anyone had the ideological structure, right? That there was some kind of larger phenomenon. And when I looked through his folders, I was blown away to discover stuff going back to like the 1920s, So I found that he's got one on Coca-Cola, and you can find all these old newspaper articles that say Coca-Cola.
Really? Cocoa,
yeah,
that's different.
Coca-Cola.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, if you go to the Nathaniel whatever's, he's got, all these crazy old articles on Coca-Cola, and he also had stuff from the 50s and 60s about McDonald's, M-A-C.
Yes, Brian MacFarlane showed it one time. I can share his Flickr account. Give me a moment.
Does help explain the Big Mac, you know. That tracks. The Big Mac makes more sense if it once was McDonald's. Although I'm a McGarvey, and my great uncle went by the nickname Mac. That's what they called him in World War II. So that can happen. But anyway, I was blown away because I was like, whoa, these are newspaper. It was just tons and tons, ad after ad after ad, where everybody's getting it wrong, or else it used to be spelled that way. Coca-Cola.
So I am putting it in the chat. This is Nathaniel Hebert's Flickr account. The Mandela Effect database. He hasn't really updated it in a while, so he may be taking a break. The last album was, I'll tell you in 1 second.
But you guys should explore that.
2019. Oh, we already have.
It's I'm talking to the chat, or just anyone who has never been there, because I think this is mind blowing. I don't know why, but it seems like for me, I just assume the default. When you start to encounter the Mandela effect, I think that we're, for whatever reason, predisposed to think that this started at a certain recent time.
No, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people realize that this has probably been ongoing, and that it may just be how things work. And
I hate that.
I
really wanted this to start recently.
I understand that.
And it troubles me. It troubles me deeply that this maybe has always been going on. Because
it still may have. You have to understand that if we're shifting timelines, right? We're shifting to a timeline where the thing that is different for us has always been that way. So it will go back. So let's say, for example, let's pretend that my theory is correct, okay? Like absolutely correct. And that in 2012, something happened to that section of the Sagittarius arm, and we were moved to an earlier version of Earth, okay?
Right.
But I said we still shift timelines for like the pop culture stuff, things like that. So, and then when did you shift for the flag again? What year? When was it? The British flag?
Last summer.
Last summer. So last summer you shifted timelines, okay? You went from your timeline where the Union Jack was the way you remember it,
right,
to the current timeline that we've already been on, traveling for years, where it is the current way. It's been like this for years, for us. But in this timeline, it's always been like that, since the time it was originally created. Do you understand? Except for that anomaly flag, the residue. With the exception of that residue, it's always been like this. Do you understand?
Well, yeah.
So it could have still happened recently. But we're shifting to a timeline where it's always been.
But it seems more complicated than a timeline, because I was aware of the Berenstein shift.
But we shift at different times on different things.
From 2017.
Right, we shift at different times for different things.
Yeah, well, that just that complicates the narrative. It's not like I just shifted multiverse and now there was one single shift and everything swapped.
There definitely is not one single shift. We shift constantly.
It's like from angry video game nerd, I became aware of this phenomenon in 2017. I thought Berenstain, that's kind of weird. I guess I read the cursive wrong. Who knows? Move on, you know. I also, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, well, whenever the, North Korea was in the news all the time with missiles and Trump, and they're writing letters and making threats on Twitter and whatnot. I remember looking up North Korea. I was like, well, where is that exactly? And finding it was bordering Russia, and it was kind of like, oh, okay. But later, when Stavely bowled me over with a video one night, and I had my great awakening, and I saw the geography shifts, I suddenly realized the Korean Peninsula isn't where it belongs. It used to be on the southeast end of China for me, and now it's way up on this, far more north position. But I had looked it up on Google Maps without thinking strongly about it about 3 years earlier. So Stavely was my major shift on a whole bunch of stuff, and I think he provoked the Union Jack and the South America thing for me. But Korea I was aware of, and Berenstein I was aware of from some years back. So shifting on these individual things, and trying to figure out what in the world is going on. I don't understand philosophically what could account for these personalized, individual, singular shifts on specific topics one by one. That's so bizarre.
I don't think that's the only thing, though. So, for example, all right, I do think we shift at different times. I've seen too much evidence of it. But I do also think we turn a blind eye to things and are made aware of things, which makes us see it.
Right, but let me interject right there, because
really quickly, though, before you do it, because
okay.
The chat is going up. Propagate. I was one of the first people to say on Brian MacFarlane like 3 years ago, when you were in the chat, that your name was Propagate the Light. 1000% for me, it was Propagate the Light. It was not this. 100%. You are Propagate the Light for me.
He was for me too.
And
well,
Jeff.
There's people who had Propagate the Light.
Propagate this light in the chat. He was Propagate the Light.
Wait. So what else do we have with that? It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. You got Fred Roger.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But yes, 100%. I knew you as the light when I was talking to you on Twitter.
Oh man, that hurts so much personally. I'm sorry, Propagate, if you.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I do remember him as though 100,000%.
But if he remembers this and never has any memory of that's just like, oh man, this whole thing is.
It hurts. Yeah.
When your own name changes, that's the worst. That's the worst Mandela effect. You're an identity. Boom.
He's saying thank you. I think he remembers that too. Always this here, says Jency. I'm trying to go back and find out what he said. And Joe Bloor remembers the. Yeah, 100% was the for me. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was important.
But that's even better than what I'm saying. I mean, it's just like that's because it's so personal. It's among our internal community, but this thing is so. I hate this. I just completely hate this. But what I was saying, Sandy, because I think you were kind of driving at, we shift at different times, but we notice at different times, right? You might have shifted and not noticed some things until they're pointed out. And I think that's true. I think that's totally plausible and valid. But the one where I just cannot possibly agree with that is the Union Jack, because as an English major who spent a semester in Scotland, that was my favorite culture and flag, Iron Maiden fan, brewer of English beers. I go to English tea rooms. I mean, I'm just like the most Anglophile person. All these other people shifted in 2016, and I persevered, and I most definitely saw the Union Jack for 7 years. You know, I didn't just not notice the Union Jack suddenly was wonky for 7 years, but I was already aware of Berenstain as early as 2017. So it's like, and the Korea thing as early as 2 years ago. When did Russia invade Ukraine? It was sometime around then.
It was 2022, February 2022.
So I was I'm aware of noticing the Korean Peninsula shift. I'm aware of Berenstain versus Stain. But there's absolutely no way that my favorite beloved flag symbol, I would be oblivious to a radical wonky change for 7 years, where the lines became half as thick and asymmetrical. I'm telling you, when I saw that thing on Stabley's show late at like 2 a.m., that bowled me over. My gut sank and I almost threw up. It was so huge for me. So that leads me to think that some of these, that it's not just a timeline personal shift in becoming aware of when it happened, but that maybe it's happening on an incremental one by one basis almost. And I don't know what kind of universe, my questions for what reality is and how that could happen multiply. But it does seem like it's almost case by case.
And that's exactly what Preliminal is saying. The quantum shift is different for each affected.
Gosh, this thing is so weird, and I hate that. I don't like this. I want to go home to my old place where reality was stable, and this is so. I mean, how do you live your life if individual things can shift for people over a 15-year time span, and who knows, we're all looking at the same thing and not seeing the same thing? What?
Well,
that's how it happens.
It seems like most of us are seeing it. That's why I present them. But a lot of the time, people don't see it until I point it out. Just like Brian Staveley points it out to you, and you see it for the first time. I don't know why I can see. I don't know why I see as many as I do. I just do. I don't go looking for them. I usually find them when I'm looking for something else. Like when I'm looking for residue for one I already have, that's when I find another one. When I'm residue hunting. Like I don't sit down and say, okay, what can I find today? It's just I'm watching a video on YouTube and something smacks me in the face. Or I'm looking for residue for Campbell's soup and I find something else. Campbell's soup popped up because of the broccoli one. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Michael Fontaine says, I was stationed in Korea. Please tell me how it changes.
You can tell him, but I need to let you know you're already 40 minutes past your timeline.
Yeah. Yes. Well, if any timeline is real or exists ever, I don't know.
Your deadline. Let me change the word I used. You had a deadline. Yeah. I am being your mother right now. Your voice of reason.
But for his sake, I want to try to find. Can I do a share screen? With.
If you find it, yes.
I have a residue folder here. Is this it? Crap. I have some world map residue somewhere that shows the world as I remember it, where yeah, okay. So let me where'd that go? Let me share the screen for the sake of.
All right, Jeff, just stay where you are. I'm going to take you down, but you can stay where you are so I can add you right back in. Mr. Super Sidewinder and Pushing Buttons, who are you referring to? Because I may have an email where I could email them, Ashley, and like, who is Ashley on YouTube? That's who I'm asking. I don't know everyone's name off of YouTube. Maybe I have Ashley's email, is what I'm saying.
Okay, let's see here. There it is. Okay, so I'm requesting to share the world as I remember it.
Very nice.
Okay, so I'm hoping there's someone else from this reality.
There is one thing wrong, though.
Well, this isn't perfect. This is not perfect. Because someone had to draw this from memory. You know?
Mm-hmm.
This is someone... I can't even believe whoever recreated this thing.
There's actually a lot wrong with it. That's crazy, though. I wouldn't mind if you could send it to me. I'd like to edit it.
I've got a couple of these. None of them is perfect. And I'm curious to hear what you... But I want to highlight the things that are right for me. Japan... being off the coast of China, curved to the same shape.
I agree with that one.
I observed that as a kid, and I thought, oh, this is the Pangea thing, where you could just scoot that thing up to the coast and it would connect right in, you know? And then the the Korean Peninsula is down here on the bottom end of eastern China. And if you look on the modern map, it's way up north, and
it's on the border of Russia.
It's up way up here, with connected to Russia, and Japan is, I don't know, 300 miles further north, and Korea is in between Japan and Asia, and that shocked me, and I completely bowled me over. And I actually ordered the movie Pearl Harbor, which is not a good movie. I mean, I watched as a kid. It's an okay movie. But the premise of the Pearl Harbor movie is because we were struck by surprise at Pearl Harbor, we needed to, retaliate quickly and hit them hard somehow. And so there was an aircraft carrier in the Pacific, and they were going to, launch a bombing raid on Japan. And they were going to bomb Japan and fly over and land in a sympathetic place in China, where there was going to be a illuminated airstrip for them. And unfortunately, the Japanese came up on the fleet and started attacking that fleet, and so they had to launch sooner than they expected. And oh no, is the gas going to last long enough? But they launched it anyway because they had to, and they successfully bombed the place in Japan, but they're barely making it over that ocean, and they sort of crash land in China. Well, if you look at the current world map, there's no way in hell they're making it to China because Korea's in the way. It's like the first land after the ocean, which is what they spot in the movie. If you watch the movie, they're flying over this ocean and then they see land. Oh, it's China. We can land. Well, if you look at the current map, that's not going to happen. The first land you're going to see is Korea. Mm-hmm. So that movie is actually a residue for the old location of Japan and Korea. So I don't know if anyone else remembers this kind of position of Japan and Korea. Not everybody does, but this is a significant number. And then the other things from this map that resonate for me is just Australia is more lonely. I think it's way too far south here. but it just needs to be not smashed up here right in Asia. For me, it's a lonely island. And then, of course, you have South America pretty much under North America. I mean, Central America looks weird. It's like it got chopped off and it's just connected to Mexico. But
that's just the way they drew it, yeah.
Overall, this is more
It's
how
actually,
I remember things.
I remember the Panama Canal connecting more towards the middle of South America, not on that end. You understand what I'm saying? And it was more tilted. And
I have some others. Are you seeing my screen still?
Yes.
So let's see here. Here's one where they rotate.
And Preliminal says Japan was 1,700 miles more east off of where it is now in his reality.
I like this because it rotates around, you know, one versus the other. And so here you're actually going to be able to see what I'm talking about with Japan and Korea. But we're coming up on North and South America, so how they line up. I'm
sorry, Gen C, I believe these are images in a folder on his computer, not a link. Correct? These are images in a folder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
She was asking for a link to the. But you can always take a screenshot.
Look here. Okay, this is even quite accurate. You see North Korea on the right, or the Korean peninsula is way up there. On the left, Japan is too high for how I remember. But anyway, you know, that's one. Let's see. Map I remember. This world map thing is a huge one for me. Here's a different one. That's someone else attempted to do this. And this is closer to how I remember as well. You know, again, Japan is low. It's maybe too far off sea, but it kind of follows the contour of China. Korea is down here. Here's a big one. The Gap of Gibraltar has a bunch of space. And look, well, you can't see very well Sicily in the boot. That's a big one. Like Sicily's too close.
I can see it. There's way too many islands around Italy for me.
Yeah. Anyway, the major things for me are South America is way too far east now, like comically far east.
Yes.
Japan used to follow the contour of the China coast, and I observed that as a kid, thinking Pangea. And the Korean Peninsula has just been transplanted to way up here, which I don't even understand. That one. And I
will also say really quickly, if you look at the Atlantic Ocean,
I'm sorry.
Like just on that map, on the map that you have up, if you look at the Atlantic Ocean, it's just a random shape, okay? But now it looks like Jessica Rabbit because South America is so far over to the east. It has like the shape of Jessica Rabbit. It's the only way to describe it.
Oh wow, I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Yeah, it's weird.
What was the other one? Oh shoot, there's a whole thing on this. I had some somewhere. Oh, here it is. Let's see if we can make this bigger. Can everyone see this new map?
Let me see. I was in the middle of editing the image. I still see the old map.
Do I need to like share a new screen?
I don't know. I'm going to take you down so that you can do it. Just let me know when you're ready.
Well, shoot. Because
I'm editing an image. And of course I can't delete it. Oh, really? I'll just go with that.
I'm going to share entire screen if that's... No, it won't let me do that. Okay, we'll just do this
And
window.
I'm going to ask you, I'm going to send the image I just drew on. I'm going to ask you to share that before you go too.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
So...
Can you zoom in at all? It's hard to see.
Well, I'm not sure
Control scroll.
How to do that with the sharing.
That's what I'm saying. Control scroll. Hold control and scroll up.
On my window I'm looking at, I did make it bigger, but I can't.
All right, we'll just explain what we're looking at. That's all.
Yeah. So if you see, there's two things this person is highlighting. And in the right circle is the Korean Peninsula is now way up there instead of at the bottom right curve of China, where I just showed it in the last two different maps. And the other thing that took people by surprise was when Mongolia became a country of its own rather than a region of China. So they circled that too. But for me, the big one is that Korean Peninsula way up there in Japan. You can see Korean Peninsula sticking out there, and on the right side of the circle is the island of Japan. And again, if you remember the plot I just talked about from the Pearl Harbor movie, they're coming from the east, they fly over Japan, they bomb it, and then they fly over the next ocean, and they barely have any gas, and as soon as they see land, they're supposed to land in China. Well, China isn't there. It's Korea, you know?
It is Korea, yes.
So I'm sorry for my lack of presentation skills and getting this big, but this person, whoever this was on Reddit, was like, what the hell is Korea doing way up there? You know, they were shocked, and that's how I felt when I first saw this. So
I got that.
Okay, so
I sent a picture to Messenger. Yeah, let me. Okay, yeah, to Messenger. It's just a crude drawing. I just said Jessica Rabbit because of the shape. It's not like you see her face, but because of where South America is now located, there's definitely a shape. See what I'm saying? Are you seeing it?
All right, let me share this.
And the maps you had up, there was no shape like that.
Right.
The ocean was much wider because South America was further west. But after this, I'm kicking you off. You're an hour late.
Yeah, that's what keeps happening. I get into this, you know, we got to start sooner. That's it.
I can't start sooner than that.
Where'd it go? Window?
Messenger.
Okay, there it is.
Okay. So guys, again, it's just a crude drawing. But you see how it's got that shape now? Like
Boom.
Yeah, it didn't have that shape before. It wasn't like a Z, like a winding road. It was wider, like he was showing in the previous images. That's all. Just want to show it. But
Well,
yeah, I'm going to have to kick you out if you're not going to leave voluntarily.
But Sandy, let me ask you this before I go. What is your memory on Japan and China and Korea, and where they're positioned?
So first off, I don't remember it connected. I remember it being an island.
What, Korea? Oh, okay.
It was very close to China, but I remember it being an island. And I don't remember it shaped like a ray gun. I remember it more, not oval, But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a chunk of it that wasn't there for me. Like, it's got like a ray gun shape. You could take off part of that ray gun, so it's more like peanut shaped, I guess. It was more like that shape for me. And I do remember it being further south, and I do remember Japan being further north.
Further north than where it is now? Or you remember it kind of being basically where it is now?
Basically where it is now, but a little bit further north. Not as high as you were showing. Not as high as it. No, a little bit further south. What am I saying?
Okay.
Yeah, not north. A little further south. What am I saying?
The strong memory for me is that it parallels the China coast. It curves in the same way that China coast curves. Like
that is what I agree with.
If you just scooch it up to the west, it would just click right into place. And if you do that now, you just bump into Russia and Korea, and it doesn't fit like a puzzle piece at all. And I remember thinking it would fit like a puzzle piece really strongly.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember Japan like I do. It followed the shape of the China coast.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a real strong one for me, and just horrifying to look at now.
Jeff has been really quiet. Jeff, what do you remember?
About which part?
China and Japan?
I don't have a memory of that. With the map, I only have a few memories of certain things being different, like North and South America and Cuba. I think that's about it. I never really paid attention enough to any of them. Oh, Australia's the other one. Yes, those are the three big ones for me.
You remember Australia being more isolated?
Yes, that's why they called it the land down under.
The Lonely Island, or the Lonely Continent. They used to call it the Lonely Continent.
But I don't remember anything specific about China or Japan or any of that other stuff. Although I do remember Mongolia was not a country.
Okay, and Tordai Geno Arthur also says
Gensi, just Gensi. I'm saying
Gensi. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mongolia wasn't a country. Jeff, do you remember Cuba being smaller, or what do you remember about Cuba?
Smaller,
right?
Much smaller.
Yes, it's huge.
Yeah.
Gensi says Australia was alone, the land down under. Mongolia was like
Greenland
country.
Is huge.
Well, Greenland's always been big by the weird skewing of putting a globe on a, like a rectangle, but.
Oh yeah, but it's still huge. Much bigger than I remember it. Like when you look at it on a map that's not skewed, it's still too big.
The map changes there's so many of them, and they're just crazy. You can't explain that. I mean, who can explain that? That's what
I have one that I'm going to be talking about.
Makes me angry.
I found something today. That's why it's not in today's show. That is blowing my mind, but you guys have to wait till next week because we have still not gotten to the new Mandela effects yet. I have got to get moving.
Yeah.
You have got to go.
I got to get out of here because I'm distracting you. I just want to salute and thank everybody who doesn't think I'm crazy for suggesting that landmass has shifted, because that is wild.
Mm-hmm.
That's utterly crazy. Nobody should believe this. It's completely impossible. Just stop.
I said you're not crazy. We're all with you.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful because I was losing my mind, and then I found you guys, and you saved me. So I'm going to sign off and let you get back to your actual show. Thank you, and good night.
Good night, Chris. Thanks for being here. All right, let's get back to the presentation. So we had just played the current reality, which had residue below it. Jeff, you were reading. Please continue.
There's a ton of residue, including 2 references in 2 different Google books. So it says that's why Campbell's soups are good.
And I wasn't kicking Chris off. Chris told me he had to leave by 1 firm. Had to be 1 a.m. It is now 2 a.m. So I did not want him to get in trouble. So that's why I've been urging him to go. Sorry about that. All right. So again, more residue. This is 2011. It's a whole thread of slogans. That's why Campbell's soups are good. And I'm also noticing the spelling change of People are spelling it MMM, but now it's M''M, according to Campbell's. Slogans we'll never forget. It's enlarged. Yeah, it's enlarged at the bottom for you. And
we'll
notice
never
the
forget
3
it,
M's
but
again.
reality will.
Yep. 3 M's again, though. So this one's interesting. She sang in a lot of the commercials for Campbell's. They have That's Why Campbell's Soups.
So what are your thoughts? Have you heard of Campbell's fruit soups? And do you have the current memory for the 1931 song? Or do you remember why like I do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Thank you. And now we're going to get on to the new stuff. Skip over the news, Jeff. They lost a lot of people when Brian Staveley went live.
So what are we starting with here?
Above the news. Whatever I put on top, on the right, on the first one on the right above the news. And we didn't even get to the new stuff yet. All right. Which one's next to this one?
Let's just go with this one.
Okay. All right, guys. Really quickly, because I don't think I presented this. I think this is one of the ones that I have sitting on the back burner. Do you guys remember movies? It's just a yes or no. Having logos. Can you zoom in on that logo so they can see it? This is on the cover of the VHS and DVD. Do you guys remember movies having logos like this? I don't. They don't all have logos. But this isn't the only one. Let's put it that way.
That's something
there are
I
more.
noticed recently.
Yeah, I noticed it like a year ago. Oh, go back. I didn't read it. So I've already covered the movie The Breakfast Club because of the title logo, which is sometimes not how I remember it, because there are different ones now because this reality doesn't keep the same logo. But now there's something in the movie that has my Mandela alarms going off. They all say no to the logo. All of them. Andrew was the jock in the varsity jacket on the right. What color do you remember on the sleeves of his jacket? I should have circled him, but you can see the varsity jacket on the right, guys. So Jency says white. Should be white. Blue and white. Pushing Buttons says gray. Jency now doesn't know. White from Michael Russum, welcome. Okay, white maybe, says Pushing Buttons. Anyone else? Creamy gray, says Joe Bohr. I forgot to include that they're sometimes blue. It's just a heads up. In some images, but not the movie, they are sometimes blue. Yes, it is, Jency. Hey, Bubbles, Bubbles. Bubbles, Bubbles says white or off-white. I remember white, says JT. Pushing Buttons is agreeing with Joe Bloor. It's been a long time for Ryu. I understand. Jency says 100% white. And Michael Russum saying, hey, Jeff, and everyone.
Hey, Michael Russum.
Hubert's is white. Mr. Super Sidewinder does not know. What do you remember, Jeff?
I wasn't sure what I remembered, but I'd lean towards white.
I have an anchor memory with this one. This is why it's so upsetting to me. So go on. I remember the school colors for the fictional Sherman High being the same colors as my high school. Blue and white. I remember white sleeves, but that is not the color of the sleeves anymore. Which, by the chat, you should know what the color is now. C3PO's Golden Calf says, not sure, but white sounds right. Do you remember dark gray sleeves? I 1000% do not. The school colors are now blue and steel gray, with the bulldog being gray. Side note, bulldogs cannot be gray. So I just think that's an odd choice. Don't you agree? Why would they make a bulldog gray if bulldogs can't be gray? No, that's weird. Says C3PO. Jency says I'm freaking out. It can't be gray. No, not dark at all, says Pushing Buttons.
Yeah, it just looks so wrong.
Hubert says no way. Wrong, says Jency. Jency prefers Jency. I asked last night, Michael Russum. Seen this movie 30 plus times. My era. Me too. Too dark, says C3PO's Golden Calf. Jency says, my eyes. All right, go on. In case you were curious what colors bulldogs can be, they can be red, white, fawn, fallow, or any combination of those colors. And I had to look up fallow because I'd never heard of it, but it's that light brown that you see there. And I know fawn is a light, very like a creamy tan, like almost cream, but still tan, but almost cream. And red is like a rusty color. So yeah, no gray. White would have made sense because bulldogs can be white. Go on. So here is the current reality. Absolutely not for me. That looks so wrong. And like I said, I did find images where it looked blue, like dark blue, but they have to be edited because the movie is gray. I understand that, Joe Bloor. He says William Tecumseh Sherman was the Union Civil War general who burnt Atlanta. Funny that the Confederacy gray is now with the Union's blue on his jacket. That is funny. Now, if this was, if the mascot was him or the Confederates, then it would make sense. But it's a bulldog. And it doesn't make sense to me. So this is the current reality bulldog. And here is the bulldog white, which I suspect, I can't say for sure, but I suspect is what it was. Now, I do want you to go back. Oh, wait. Actually, before you go back, everyone look at the middle right image. Do we see the circle with the bulldog? We all see that, right? Jeff, you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Don't go back yet. I have a question to ask you in the chat. No, don't go back yet.
Huh?
Stay there.
No.
That circle is on his sleeve. Okay? What color? Oh, no. Oh, my gosh, it is Shermer. I remember Sherman. Or did I just say Sherman? What did I write? Oh, look what I write, but in a second. I need to ask this question first. That circle appears on the sleeve of his jacket. What color do you think that circle on his jacket is? What do you see in your mind's eye? Guys, I know you're freaking out over Sherman right now, but I need you to answer really quickly what color you think that circle on his jacket was. Blue, I think, says Michael Russum.
Yep.
Jeff's a green blue. Hubert's is a green blue. So, Jeff, you know how we see, like, you know, Mandela effects reflecting reality a lot? This is one of those times. Can you go back to the current reality images of the jacket, please? And then zoom in on the bottom left, which is the signed copy. No, not that. The next one. And then zoom in on the signed copy.
This one?
Yep. Guys, it's pink and red. Do you remember a pink and red patch on his arm? I do not. Anyone? Does anyone remember this pink and red patch on his arm? Jeff, do you?
No.
We have not sure gold. Yeah, it should be blue, says Jency. That's a WTF, says Michael Russum. I don't know why it's pink and red. I don't know. I don't even know if I remember the patch there at all. All right, so we can go back on. I just wanted to ask that really quickly because I forgot to put it in the presentation. So here's residue of the white sleeves, even on Garbage Pail Kids. And The Last Breakfast Club is a musical parody, I believe. They have it with the white sleeves. There's also t-shirts. The Second Breakfast Club. Can we zoom in on the bottom right and see what color the patch is there? It's blue and gray. But above, it's red and white. I know this is a minor Mandela effect to some, but the blue-white is a strong memory for me. Let me know what you remember in the comments below. And no pink patch. That's just weird. Welcome, Rodney. Rodney says crazy. I love them too. I love Garbage Pail Kids.
Me too.
You're up next, Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
Who here remembers Bob Ross? Saw at least a clip of him painting his happy little trees. Well, something is off with the late Mr. Ross, so I have a quick question to ask you. Look at the palette versus his body size. Which size palette do you remember Bob Ross using 99% of the time? 1, 2, or 3?
All right, Jeff, you did skip a folder, the one with the trees. So you're going to do that one next because I want to do the last one.
All right.
So for Gen Z, it was 3. Pushing buttons, it was 1. Hubert's, it was 2. We have all 3 answers in the chat. 2, I think, for Michael Russum. Yes, we covered that 3 years ago, 4 years ago. He did lose. It's only on in one movie that he doesn't have the stripes on his sleeves. Oh, I have the hiccups, guys. I'm sorry. Noise Guru is a 2. Ryu is guessing. Maybe it's 3. Joe Bloor is 1 mainly, sometimes 2. Mr. Super Sidewinder is 2. JT is 2. That's it. No mistakes, only happy little accidents. Welcome, Everjosh. 2 or maybe 3. 1 looks right to C-3PO's golden calf. Jeff, what about you?
2.
It's a 2 for me, too. We can go on.
In my past, he used a larger palette, number 2, in every episode I saw. If I had to guess the size, I remember I would say 11 by 13 or 13 by 15, which is still a large palette. But Bob Ross always used the largest acrylic painter's palette available. What does that say?
Number 3.
Oh, yeah, number 3.
16 by 1/4 inch by 24 inches, aka 2 feet long.
It's so large that held up, it goes from the tip of his hair to his belt.
To his belt, because you cut out. Oh, God, I think Jeff is crashing.
Nah.
Jeff, oh, good, you're there. Good. Hey, Jehovah's daughter, Barbara, good to see you. So, guys, do you remember it being this large? Because I do not. I remember it large, but not this large.
It's way too big.
Yeah. C-3PO says, LOL, no way, it's bigger than the canvas. I know. Hubert says that kind of looks right to me. And it looks right to Jency. It is bigger, says Jency.
Way too big for me.
Yeah, Jeff.
I honestly do not know how he didn't get paint all over his shirt just holding that. Did you remember 3? There's some residue of a smaller palette, sometimes smaller than I remember.
So for any of you that remember 1, I am going to have residue of 1. Yeah, every season, Joe Bloor. Yes, too big for me, says Rodney. Every season, no, says Joe Bloor.
It is like a shield.
Yep. It's bigger than his afro, says Super Mario. Happy little shield says pushing buttons. All right, so I don't know if you let them see the pictures long enough on the red. But the statue in the top left is the closest to what I remember. It's going to be bigger at the end. It's still a big palette. It's like the size of his body, but it's not like it is now. Mr. Super Sidewinder says that's just wrong.
Yep. Is this a Mandela effect for you like it is for me? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
All right, so now you're going to go to the one you skipped. And then the blue one's going to be the last one. Just making sure I didn't miss anything else. No, I got it all. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Jeff.
This may not be a Mandela tree. Maybe those familiar with homeopathic medicine will say this has always been in their reality and is not an ME, but it's new to me and everyone I ask, so I'm asking you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of the Hercules Club tingle tree or toothache tree?
So yes or no in the chat. Have you ever heard of the Hercules Club, tingle tree, or toothache tree? Pushing buttons is a no. Jeff, what about you?
No.
Nope, says C3PO's golden calf. No way, Jose, says Jehovah's daughter Barbara. Definitely not, says Michael Russum. They all gave a different way of saying no. Noise Guru is a no. JT is a no. Nope for Ryu. Of course not, says Joe Bloor. Adam for Christ, welcome back, says no. Rodney says, holy moly, what's that? That is AI art. Mr. Super Sidewinder says, nope. Pushing Button says, is that where Oragel grows? Sorta. Actually. Maybe. Everjosh says, no, that just sounds ridiculous. I agree. All right, we can go on.
The Hercules Club is a bumpy bark tree native to the southeastern USA. It's also known as the prickly ash and pepperwood, besides being called the tingle tree and toothache tree.
With a correction coming up next.
Slight correction. This map shows where the tree grows. It's the entire eastern side of North America, not just the southeastern USA.
Which goes all the way to the Midwest, which, Jeff, we both live in states where this tree grows, and I've never seen it before. Have you?
Nope.
Never heard of it. Look, it covers half of the continent. I can't with this one. Let's go on.
The tree gets the names tingle and toothache because chewing on the bark, leaves, and twigs will make the mouth tingle and go numb, taking away toothache or pain from canker sores naturally.
But there are many thorns, so be very careful if you come across this. Thorns on the bark and the branches and twigs.
The berries are actually casings with seeds inside. When ripe, they split open. They can be used in cooking as a peppercorn or chewed on or made into a tea with the leaves for toothaches and sore throats.
Okay, really quickly. Jehovah's daughter Barbara says, I lived in Florida and Georgia and never heard of it. And Pushing Button says, I've seen those trees before. But did you know that they could take toothaches and sore throats and canker sores away? That's the question. Go ahead, Jeff.
The bark can have different sized bumps with some resembling teeth. Have you ever seen these before? And if gnawing on sticks isn't your thing, don't worry. There's another option.
But first, can you read that? Are you able to?
No. Wait, now I can. Put one of those seed pods in your mouth and chew a little. You're in for a wild ride. Citrus, spicy pepper, followed by mouth numbing. If you have ever had Sichuan peppercorn, that is what the seed cases taste like. You can use them any way you would use Sichuan pepper. The best part is that they are self-shucking. Just take these little groups of seeds and let them dry out. The seed case will crack and little black seeds will be exposed. Just give it a good tap on the bowl and all the black seeds will come out, leaving you with a dried peppercorn. They can store for a long time in a jar, and you can grind them up or use them whole in cooking.
That's the only part you needed to read. I just want people to understand what it tasted like and stuff.
Okay.
So now, question 2.
Have you ever heard of the paracress plant?
So yes or no in the chat. Have you ever heard of the paracress plant?
Of course not.
Yeah, I think they meant Szechuan sauce. I agree, Noise Guru. Szechuan pepper.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah. Pushing Button says nah. Michael Russum says no. Not even, says Jehovah's Daughter Barbara. Nope for Rodney Letman. C3PO's Golden Calf is no. Hubert's is no. Jeff, how about you?
No.
Well, you're about to experience some deja vu. Go ahead.
Acmella what is that?
Alaracia.
Alaracia is a flowering herb, also known as the toothache plant. Szechuan buttons, paracress, jambu, buzz buttons, ting flowers, and electric daisy. These can be found in North and South America.
Mm-hmm. Negative for Joe Boer. Never seen this tree ever, and I've lived in Michigan my entire life, says Bubble Bubbles.
Just like the tree, this plant can take away toothaches and grows flowers that are sometimes called eyeball flowers. The flowers, which can be all yellow or yellow with a red-brown center, and leaves can be eaten or made into a tea for toothaches and sore throats. Have you always known of these trees and or plants? Just because they are new to me doesn't make them a Mandela. But they grow in my area and I've never seen them before. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Yeah.
So we only had one person that heard of it, right? Just pushing?
No. Rodney says, I have seen those grow between cracks in the sidewalk in Illinois. New to me, says C3PO's Golden Calf. And Jehovah's Daughter Barbara says, it's named after you, Push. And Pushing Button says, I'm flattered. Flattened? Never heard of it, says Michael Russell. All right, guys, we're on the last one for tonight. It's a long one. And we're going back to maps at the end of this one. So here we go. Last one for tonight, everyone. The first thing I want to ask you may not be a Mandela effect, but there are some really strange things in this TV series that makes me think it may be from a reality I was not a part of. The first question is, yes or no, have you ever heard of the TV series Goodnight Beantown? So yes or no in the chat, have you ever heard of Goodnight Beantown? Because Jeff has, but I had not. So that's a 50-50 split.
But I never saw it. I've seen it advertised. when I watch the
Ryu's
old commercials.
okay. So Super Mario says Bill Bixby. Ryu Gaming says yeah. Michael Russum says no. Super Mario screaming yes. C3PO is no. Noise Guru is no. Rodney is nope. Oh, Sandy, no. I think so, says Pushing Buttons. Nope, but I didn't care for sitcoms either, says Jehovah's Daughter Barbara. Pushing Buttons says, same as you. Advertised but never saw it. Cuberts is a no. Everjosh is a no. Adam for Christ is a no. A lot of you are a no. That's going to become important later on. Okay? So we can go on. Mr. Super Sidewinder is a no. Goodnight Beantown was a short-lived series that ran for 1.5 seasons, because season 1 only had 5 episodes, on CBS in 1983 and 1984. I clearly remember shows from those years, like The A-Team, Who's the Boss, Mama's Family, so it's strange to me that I've never even heard of it. Okay, Jeff. I also can't understand why it was canceled. It was doing as well and better than Cheers. It also won Best New Television Series in 1984. Why would they cancel something that won an Emmy for Best New Television Series?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense at all.
Cheers wasn't a hit, though, for the first few years.
Okay, but it also beat Knots Landing.
Yeah, that's weird that they would cancel it. If it's beating that, because that was very popular at the time.
And why I never saw ads or airings on other networks years later, I don't know. I'm calling Mandela on this. Go ahead. But I could have just missed it with all the great shows that were airing at that time. The issue isn't so much the TV show itself, but the things I saw in the TV show. Things that do not match my memory of the reality I grew up in. The first strange thing I noticed could be a Mandela effect on its own. There was a clock on the wall that I have never seen before, but the clock design isn't the issue. I could have just never seen a clock that had regular and military time on the face like this. Next question. It's midnight. That is a Mandela effect for me. Which matches your memory for midnight in military time? 1, 2, or 3? Number 1, midnight, 0:0. Number 2, midnight, 24:0. 3, it could be either way. Which do you remember for midnight? 0000, 2400, or either way? Hold up, we got answers coming in. Ryu is a 1, 0000. Everjosh is a 1, 0000. Rodney Letman is 2, 2400 hours. Both for Jency. C3PO is a 1. 2 for Jehovah's Daughter Barbara. Cuberts is a 1. Pushing Buttons is a 2. Michael Russum is a 3. Right. Okay, Jency. Rodney is 2400. Jency is 1 and 2. That means 3 for you, Jency. You remember 3. Noise Guru is 2. Joe Bloor is 3. I just remember somewhere 0 hours, says Ryu. So Jency's changed hers to 3 now. Welcome in, Ren. Let's see. 0 hours for Ryu. Okay, I'm going to tell you really quickly. Jeff, what do you remember first?
1.
Okay, for me, it was 2. only for midnight, 2400 hours. The minute it went to 1201, it became 0001. So the 12 o'clock on the clock would be 24, not zeros for me. So I am a straight up 2. Are we going? This is 100% in Mandela for me. In my past, midnight was 2400 hours only. Never 0, or 0 hours. Midnight ended the day, the 24th hour. And then, like I said, after midnight, for me, it was 00:01 for 1 minute. The show did a close-up of the clock, which immediately caught my attention. So from that point on, I paid extra attention to the background, and this is what I noticed. As you can see, their clock had 00 at the top. In this reality, it's 3. It's both ways. So if you only remember one, it's still a Mandela for you because it's both ways. Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, I remember people always saying 0 hour.
Yeah, for me, it was always 2400 hours.
That
always. And I've never heard 0 hour. So here is they're both right. So, but for me, it's wrong. That's why it's in red. C3PO's Golden Calf says, oh, looks wrong on the clock, and I agree. And here's 24 on the top, like I remember. And I'm not weird. That's why I said it's 3 in this reality. 3 is the answer. That's the current reality. It's both ways. Zero, 100 hours and 5 minutes. Never really said military time with minutes, though. I would just say the hour. And because we didn't really use military time. The only time I actually heard military time spoken was on the hour. Like 100 hours, 200 hours, 1600 hours, 2000, 2100 hours. The next thing I noticed was another possible Mandela effect that I forgot to cover. I first noticed this in old photos last year. And now, here is the same thing in this TV series. So I'm finally bringing it up. Prior to the 2000s, what color or colors do you remember taxis, cabs? Now, it may be different in Europe. I'm specifically speaking of the United States. Jeff, what do you remember? Prior to the 2000s.
For taxis, yellow.
Okay. So always yellow, maybe, says Ryu. Never yellow in Europe. That's what I said. It's different. I'm sure it's different in Europe. Yellow and black, says Jehovah's Daughter Barbara. Yellow for Super Mario Brothers. Yellow for Noise Guru. Yellow caps for Everjosh. Yellow, sometimes white, says Michael Russum. Yellow and black for Mr. Super Sidewinder. Yeah, I agree. I miss Leslie Nielsen. Yellow with white and black checkers to C-3PO's golden calf. Again, yellow and yellow for Super Mario. USA yellow, says Jency. Yellow says pushing buttons. Yellow with checkers. Taxis are white here, but yellow there, says Ryu. Yellow in black checkers, says Cuberts. Sometimes white, but rarely, says Everjosh. Rodney Letman says green. Canary yellow says RRFTV, welcome. Mostly yellow, says Rodney. Wow, everything's jumping on me. White may have been after 2000, though, says Michael Russum. All right, guys. We're going to go on. In my past, they were mainly yellow. There could also be black, white, or a company-specific color as an accent color, but the majority color on taxis was always yellow for me. And apparently most of the chat. The cabs now came in every color of the rainbow. I have never seen taxis these colors before. Have you? Jeff, could you zoom in on the bottom right? Because it's a whole line of them. And they're all different colors. There's white and gray or blue. There's yellow with red on the top. There's red and blue. There's red and white. There's tan or gold and white. There's black and white. They're a line of taxis. I don't remember colors like this in the United States. Green and white. No, it's the United States. You can tell by the license plates. Jehovah's daughter Barbara says that's ludicrous. I agree. You can also tell by the cars that it's not Cuba, because Cuba still has like 1950s DeSotos. They don't have these newer cars. Yellow, white, red, on the line. Green, white, red. Oh, okay, go on. Go to the next one. So in the TV series, it's after this. So these are actual models of New York City, Chicago, San Francisco, Philadelphia cabs, all different cabs that they did drawings of. So we have an orange station wagon, yellow and green, blue and white. Here's a green and cream colored, a black one, a blue and white one. Next slide, Jeff. Blue and yellow is the checkered cab company. United Taxi, Independent Taxi, green and white. This was not my past. Hot pink and white, green and white, metallic green and white, green with checkers that are huge. That's the 1960 Ford taxi cab. Red and green, like Christmas. Dark green and white. And there's green checkered cab with the cream. Bubbles says yellow. Here is a cab in pink and red on Goodnight Beantown. That reminded me to cover this. Absolutely not. But the cab and clock weren't the only things I noticed. I shared my theory for the Mandela effect, explaining that we could be on an earlier version of Earth while also shifting timelines. What I'm about to show you may verify my theory. So brace yourself, everyone, because what I'm about to show you should not exist and makes no sense at all. Strange maps found in the 1983-84 series. Does anyone know what that map is of? Because I really don't know. It could be Florida, but it doesn't look right. There's snow at the top. Yeah, go to the next one, Jeff. Here's more of a close-up. It could be England, maybe. I'm not sure what that map is. Does anyone? Russia or China, I think, says Jency. Asia. No, the USA doesn't have snow on the map at all. All right, Jeff, get to the good stuff. The map I do recognize. Then I saw what appeared to be Australia and New Zealand, but not the land we see today. So I drew it, like I traced it. I want you to take note of all those islands and the position of New Zealand and the shape of Australia that I drew. Do we all see this crazy map that I drew compared to the real map above of this reality? Okay, let's show them the actual map. Now it's blurry. And I'm going to show it to you without all the writing on it. But it appears to me that New Zealand is turned from the 12 o'clock position to the 45-minute position, 3 or 9 o'clock position. Turned. It also looks like Australia is cut in half with a big landmass on the left-hand side and 3 islands below New Zealand. I don't understand this map. This map is hurting my head. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get so much worse, everyone. Next slide. So here it is without his head's in the way. Can you zoom in on the bottom one where the head is not in the way? I don't understand. And I guarantee you this is the bottom of the map. So this is not like the top of the map where it's different. Yes, this is the actor from Police Academy. Yes. I don't know. I don't know why they would make a fictional map. It's bizarre. All right, Jeff, next slide. Let's show them America. Okay, it's just me showing you again the comparison. And there's me drawing on top of it so you can see what I drew was accurate. So weird. And finally, what appears to be the lower half of the United States and some of South America. Again, not what you see today. So above is Google Maps today. Below is what is on the wall. Okay, Jeff, let's get to the actual picture. Guys, South America is curved up, and the tip of South America lines up with Florida. Florida and Dallas, Texas. It's also 10 times bigger. Okay, go to the next one without the writing and the comparison. On this map, I write South Carolina, correction, it's northern Florida and Dallas, Texas. The tip of South America, because of the way it's curved up, lines up with northern Florida and Dallas, Texas. And the Panama Canal is completely north to south, south to north. It's not southeast to northeast. Like we remember it east to west. This is south to north. This is insane. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen before. Go ahead, go to the next one. And then I found this high quality image, which is where I used a ruler to line it up and found out it was Florida and Dallas. That tip. This is the most bizarre map I've ever seen in my life. And it's just me saying correction. You can go on to the next one. So here I am drawing over the map again. Those white areas are shallow water, which is not shallow water today, so I don't understand. The whole thing is crazy to me. Because it's moved. It's like someone took it and turned it counterclockwise while moving it upwards. You know the next one? All I do know is there is no way the Earth has moved that much in 40 years. We have seen older maps reflect the current map. So why do these maps exist? Could this be from another timeline? And if so, why didn't they shift to match this reality? And by the way, this old map has Tasmania attached to Australia. So it's circled in green. Okay, Jeff. Bonus, logos and such. I just want to point out the Goodnight Beantown has those weird lines connected to the ends. The ends are connected. The B is broken. The EI is connected. Yes, it was attached on the previous map if you hit rewind, Jency. So we have merging letters and TV host weekly cable programs. T and a B, completely merged. So I have an orange. It might be merged, or it could just be the low quality of the film, making the pixels bleed. So things marked in orange may be merged, but the G and the O in gold, 100% merged. And the TR and Tracy, 100% merged. Bill Bixby, ILL, 100% merged. AN and merged. IX in Bixby is merged. And orange is the BY. Okay, these are also more credits from the show. AJ, I mean, you can see the merging here. But can we look at AJ? Can you zoom in on AJ? I drew the dots in because without the dots, the A and the J is way too far apart. But they have no dots there. So either the dots are missing or the letters are just too far apart. That's weird to me. Plus we have all this merging. Elevens again. The station they work for is WYN Channel 11. Is any of this a Mandela effect for you? Do you ever remember the map looking like this? There's the high quality image right there, where you can see that the tip of South America is lined up with Florida and Dallas. Like I don't understand that at all. Like if it's meant to show the curvature of the Earth, the United States should be curved to the left then. and not straight up. Like, that's weird. Anyway, could it be 0 hours in your past? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. No, I can't find shots without their heads in the way. I tried, Gen Z. There's also only like 3 episodes online. All the other, it's not on any streaming service. There's nowhere to watch it. It's not on YouTube. There's 3 episodes on YouTube. I watched all 3. I love the show. I wish I could find everything. And that's all, folks, for this week. I have a lot planned already for next week. People are sending me stuff. I can't even get to it because I have too much stuff to cover. I'm getting slammed with stuff. Like next week, I got Looney Tunes lined up. I've got another serial lined up. I have so much stuff to do. So much. Oh my gosh, so much. Jeff, are you there?
Yep.
I know you're a he, Gen Z. The Gino Arthur gave that away. Did I say she? If so, I'm sorry. That wasn't. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm getting tired. That's what it was. Guys, a little eviction update. I did show text messages to Jeff. So Jeff, can you please confirm the craziness that is my landlord? Jeff, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear what I said?
Uh-huh.
I said, can you please confirm that my landlord is insane? Because when I say stuff, it doesn't sound like, it sounds like I'm making stuff up. He just tried to, now my old lease, because he won't give me a new lease yet, my old lease says there's a $50 late fee if I don't pay the first week of the month. Okay? He tried saying he was going to start charging me 5% interest. That's illegal. That is illegal. You can't do that.
He's crazy and he's a criminal. That's what I think.
He's trying to get me to pay electric that I am not responsible for. I have my own electric bill. What happened was the store hired somebody to hook up their generators for the refrigerated section and the freezers. And the guy who hooked it up to our electric line. And by the time Pico came out, after I was calling for months and months and months, they finally sent someone out and said, oh yeah, this is not your responsibility. They closed our bill out, gave us a new bill with what we actually owed. And Pennsylvania law says that that bill goes to the owner of the building, the landlord. So the landlord should then take that to the store owner, but instead he's trying to get me to pay $1,000 of it because it's, on our old bill. He has been causing me so much stress that I'm like crying every time he texts me. Every time he texts me, like, have you ever gotten that dread feeling that, oh my God, I can't even look? That's what happens every time my landlord texts me. So, if I seem off, if I'm like, not getting as much done, running late, like, he always seems to text me on a show night. Was it Friday? Was it yesterday when he drove me crazy?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was. Yeah, it was yesterday. So, yeah, that's what happened. Well, no, yesterday Brian was just late, but I needed that extra time. I'm thankful Brian was late because the landlord took up more than an hour of my time texting back and forth. He is crazy. I'm not making any of this up. I showed, because I'm not supposed to show the text messages, I did show them to Jeff offline, just so I had other eyes to see what I was seeing and going through. I just want to let you know, if you share the fundraiser, please let people know that there is an anonymous donor who is willing to match every dollar that is donated, new donations, up to $1,000. So if someone donates 10, they're going to donate 10. If someone donates 100, they're going to donate 100, up to $1,000. So I do want to share that. And I feel blessed that they're doing that. And I can't thank them enough. They know who they are, but they asked me not to mention who they are. And the landlord gave me a deadline. He wants $1,000 by Thursday. I told him I would give him as much as I could. So hopefully that's good enough for him. But I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to do. I just, he's the problem. We owe him this money. I'm not saying I don't owe him the money. He deserves every penny of it. It's the rent money that we owe him. But if I'm, like I said, if I seem off, if I seem a little scattered brained, if I'm running late, it's probably because I'm dealing with that. That's all. I just wanted you guys to know that. I hate keeping you waiting when I say we're going to be here at this time, and then you're all in the chat, and I'm having problems with Flickr trying to upload, and I can't do it, and we end up a half hour, 45 minutes late. I hate doing that to you guys. I feel so bad when that happens. I'm losing my voice now. Sorry, guys. So, yes, I appreciate any prayers you can send my way. And if any of you need prayers, let me know, because I will definitely pray right back to you. Thank you again to Pushing Buttons. Thank you to everyone who has donated. Multiple times, some of you. I really can't thank you enough. Joey has a job interview next week. We're praying that he gets it. Because we can pay our rent. It's just we can't pay our rent and the back rent. And that's why we're falling into this hole where we're not catching up. Because this back rent is killing us. Then the landlord's constantly asking for more money for other things that have nothing to do with the back rent. He even tried, and I showed this to Jeff because the insanity that I have to deal with. He even tried to say I did not. Do you guys remember me telling you? He made me pay July of 2022, which was supposed to be covered by the ERAT. But I paid it because I didn't want to argue. So I paid a random month in 2022 that he claims we owe with no proof whatsoever, just to avoid an argument because he holds all the cards. Yesterday, he said, do you want to pay July of 2022 now? I said, I already paid you. What are you talking about? I sent him the receipt he gave me as proof. And he immediately changed the subject and wanted to charge me 5% interest. This is the insanity I deal with. And I thank goodness that I have the receipts to say, hey, look, I did. I paid you in January. July of 22 was paid. Done. You can't ask for it twice. I swear he's just making up stuff to keep us in this hole so that we can't catch up, so that he can get in, like, he wants to make an excuse to evict us. And I'm not alone in that, because the store owner downstairs said that he came in and said to him, I said this on Brian's show, I think. He came into the store and said, if you want to go, I can get $1,800 a month, because I think he's paying $1,400 a month, or was it $2,400? He can get $2,800, probably the latter because it's a store. And he said, yeah, in 5 years when my lease is up. It's a great comeback by him. But he was even saying it to him, like he wants him out so he can charge someone more money. I don't, can I report this? Like, honest question, Jeff. Can I report this to something?
I've been saying that I think you can. I really do.
It feels like extortion.
It does. Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's like you said, he's making stuff up to keep you in a hole. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Jency, I can't fire him. He owns the building. I wish Mo and I could go in and say, we'd like to buy this building to take it out from under him. But knowing him, if the store owner asks, how much do you want for it? I think I looked it up once and he paid like $210,000 for the building. When, you know, prices were a lot cheaper. I'd probably say $2 million. So greedy.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Jency says no more rent for you. Oh, my goodness. All right, guys. I just wanted to let you know what's going on and to ask you to please share it with Fundraiser. Again, if people don't like to use fundraisers, I have Zelle, CashApp, PayPal, and the anonymous donor will match those donations as well. I just have to show them, and they will match them. So if people don't like using GoFundMe because of what happened in Canada, or for whatever reason, there are other ways they can donate. But if you share it, please let them know someone is matching dollar for dollar up to $1,000. And like I said, thank you again for the donations, the prayers. This has taken so long. I have been under so much stress because of this since Christmas Eve. I just want this stress gone. And I don't think he's ever going to stop. But there is no option. We can't move. We can't afford to move. It's too expensive now. And you need a lot of money to move. It costs money to move your stuff. So, but if we're caught up, I mean, he's probably just going to move back onto the electric. But right now I'm working with Pico to get a letter so that once the rent is caught up, if he wants to take me to court for the electric, that's fine, because then he can't like add the eviction into it, you know? Because I'll have proof that we're not responsible for the electric. He could take me to court for that. That's fine. But yeah, that's the update. And I'm going to stop there before I get upset. I'm trying really hard not to get upset for you guys. Thank you guys. But Jeff, is there anything you want to talk about or say before we go?
No, I just want to thank everybody for being here.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I also want to say, if you can share the fundraiser, or if you can help out, please do. And if you can't, obviously we understand times are hard, but please at least share it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, everyone, on a lighter note, we will see you next week. Oh, next week may have to be on Sunday after Hebrew, because I think I'm out of hours on StreamYard. Jeff, there's more to tell you. My StreamYard does not renew until May 5th.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so May 5th is on a Sunday. So I figure, I mean, maybe if we wait until after midnight on Saturday, but it's just you and I next week. Christopher will not be here.
Okay.
So if you can do late on Saturday, maybe we'll do late on Saturday, so it's May 5th.
Yeah.
And if not, okay, we can do that then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that way, yeah, 'cause next Sunday is Mother's Day, yes. So that's about it, guys. Just watch the community page for updates. I'll let you know what's going on with the show. But it's mainly because I'm out of hours. I've used them all up because I've been doing extra shows because of the fundraiser, and we've been having longer shows. It's just been that way. All right. So, Jeff, do you want to do a quick shout out before we leave? Because I'm kind of losing my voice here. I don't know if you can hear
I'll
the
do what
gravel
I
coming
can.
in.
I gotta see.
I know
who
you can only see
actually
so
still
far up.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to less than an hour ago.
All right. Let's see. C3PO's Golden Calf, Super Mario Brothers, Gen C, Aiden and Abetting, Michael Russum, Everjosh 08, Noise Guru, Jehovah's Daughter Barbara, Ryu, Pushing Buttons, Huberts, Rodney Letman, RRFTB, Joe Bloor. We had John Nada here earlier, Super Mario Brothers, Mr. Super Sidewinder, C3PO's Golden Calf. Bubbles. And that's all I can see. If I missed you, I'm sorry.
Michael Fontaine was here earlier.
Michael Fontaine.
John Nada.
I mentioned him.
Okay. I'm writing a comment, that's why. I'm just writing a comment for the chat before we go out of here.
Ken Raz.
Ken Raz was here. Mm-hmm. I know a lot more of you were here, and I'm sorry. I am so tired I can't think. But thank you all for being here. And we will definitely see you next week. We just don't know when. So,
Mustard Seed of Faith. Almost forgot.
Mustard Seed of Faith, RRFTB. JT was here. There's so many people that were here tonight.
Yeah.
Propagate This Light was here.
Oh, that's right. How could I forget him?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, there were so many here tonight. Go Kart Bob. I can't even think. They're just randomly popping in my head. All right, guys. Go to bed. Have a great night. We'll see you next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Smash the tube, smash the tube, smash the tube, smash the tube. Turn the strap off, 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 please turn it off. Why must we watch Friends? 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 I've seen this show about 1,000,000 times. Not even funny when I'm drunk or high. Why must we watch Friends? 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 I'm telling you now for the 100th time. to change the channel. This show is a crime. Why must we watch Friends? 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 That laugh track is so annoying to me. They wouldn't need it if the show was funny. Why must we watch Friends? 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 There's so much better ways to spend my day than watch TV sing down a cat so smelly. Why must we watch Friends? 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 Why must we watch Friends?